We are live. We are in vivo. We do not want to be served with papers, Mr. Bruce Buffer, because we have no money. We are just four brothers with no lives, nothing else left to do but talk sports. And here we are. This is the All Sports Matters podcast. You might know me. You may not know me. We don't know. We're about to find out. My name is Amir Sharaz Ortiz, a.k.a. Poppy Ortiz 02, at Poppy Ortiz 02 on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Amir Sharaz Ortiz. I am your co-host of All Sports Matter podcast, and I have my brothers with me. We're going to start. I think we're representing the bottom Southwest, right? We're all in the Southwest, I believe. Shake your head, gentlemen. I believe we're all in the Southwest. We may not be from here, but we're representing here.
No.
All right. I am Amir Sharaz Ortiz again. You may or may not know me. Let's go with my big brother Rob out in San Antonio. Say something, big fella. And technical difficulties.
Your mic muted, Rob.
Fleck, talk to us a little bit, Fleck.
What's up, man? You know it's your boy, Fleck. Flecktron, Mr. Two Belts. Mr. Two Belts in a ring. Sitting down here in Nashville. Ready to talk some sports with my brothers. Jim?
So we got to be two belts with a ring, huh? How many for real rings? How many for real rings that the Titans got though? But that's neither here nor there. Y'all know me. I'm Jay. I'm down here in New Orleans, but representing for the 4-9 as always. You know, and we here to make things happen and do what we do. Let's kick it over to Big Robbery. Let's see if he figured out his technical difficulties. If he could unmute himself.
Anything, Rob? Anything?
He said he can't.
Well, while we try to
for those that don't know, he's a Baltimore Ravens fan, and I'm pretty sure his computer's injured, just like the rest of his roster every season. So we gotta apologize now when it comes to Desmond Robinson. That is our boy from another mother, and we will get him back shortly.
We'll get
him. I don't know. Maybe he's just as much hurt as the Lakers were.
Hey.
Right? What do y'all think about that?
I mean, you know, the Ravens had a down year, so he might still be feeling the pain from the Ravens season. Who knows? But you know, I'm still here.
San Antonio didn't do too hot either.
Yeah, San Antonio did not do too hot. He's still a little bit, you know, upset with me from, you know, the Pelicans in the play-in tournament right now. So, you know, but they doing things, but that's neither here nor there. We're gonna talk about matter of fact, before we get into what we're doing, what's going on in Brooklyn? Can anybody tell me this? Amir, you got on New York stuff. What's going on up there? What's going on?
They fishing right now.
I think I'm gonna divert back to being from New Jersey for a second, if I may. I'm not a Brooklyn Nets fan. I'm not one of these, you know, diehard New York fans. We're separated here in New York. We're separated: Mets, Yankees, Jets, Giants, Nets, Knicks, and then we got those teams in Canada that we call Buffalo. Got that? What I'm saying is, I am not a Nets fan, but I guess the real question is, and I want to impose to the public, all one that is watching, is what's worse? I'm a Knicks fan. So my team didn't make it, as expected. But what's worse, being a Lakers fan with the talent of AD, LeBron, or getting swept with the talents of KD and Kyrie? All right, I'm still working through some technical difficulties, and we'll get it out there.
That was on Nash. I think that one was more on Nash, man. He didn't adjust. The Celtics threw 2-3 bodies at KD every time he touched the ball, no matter where he touched it at, and they didn't adjust. But I mean, like y'all said, though, you got two generational talents like KD and Kyrie. You expect more,
right? And you know, I was
sweep.
I was going to speak on it as a Laker fan, but I decided to until all of the LeBron fans go ahead and leave once he leaves and they blow this thing up. I'm a cool off on the Lakers and not because I don't want to support the Lakers, but everything is so diluted with what's going on out there right now. It's not a for real team, honestly, in my opinion. It's just LeBron and his friends and whoever he picked the coach, and that's what they're doing out there. So until they decide to blow all of that up and do what they need to do, is go be the Pelicans, and we go make something happen and do what it do. But you was right, Fleck. Steve Nash he was a great point guard, but he's not that great of a coach, in my opinion. And he didn't make the adjustments that he needed to make, and that was the major beef that I had with the Pelicans when they had Alvin Gentry and when they had Stan Van Gundy. They didn't do nothing. They didn't make no adjustments. It was we go out here and we go flat out, and that's what it's gonna be. And that's what they did, and that's why they got fired. You see what's going on with Willie Green. He making adjustments at halftime. He coming out, he doing things, and that's the way it need to be.
But let's chime in on the one. If Rob, if you're good here, chime in after I ask this question. You said, Jimmy, LeBron and his friends. We're talking about a perennial top 5 NBA player, when healthy, of course, Anthony Davis. That's more than just a friend. That is a monster in itself, right?
What
am I missing here?
And he is a monster, but notice what you said, when he's healthy. AD has been in the league. How long? How long has he been in the league? How many times has he played an entire season? He was down here with the Pelicans, and he made it seem like the Pelicans were the problem. He couldn't get over the hump because the Pelicans were the problem. He couldn't stay healthy because of the trainers in New Orleans. He went to Los Angeles. They won the title in the bubble, so which a lot of people will call an asterisk title because it was in the bubble. But everything else, he's been hurt. He start out the season, then he gets hurt. It's always something with his foot, his shin, his knee, his groin, anything. But he stays hurt.
His neck, his back, and his back.
It's one of those things to where, you're a perennial all-star, but can you stay healthy to be an all-star? Because you can go to the all-star game, but you don't play because you always hurt.
That's a great point. Rob, you got something to say about that, please?
Jim hit it right on the head. I mean, when healthy, he's one of the top players in the league, but that's the problem. We don't know when Mr. Glass is going to be healthy or he's not going to be healthy. It seems he can't play a full season without something ailing him all the time. And it's almost as if he has the Greg Oden curse on him, or players of that caliber, or even Brandon Roy type situation. Because when Brandon Roy was on his game, Brandon Roy was one of the best players in the league, but he was injury prone to the point where it ended up derailing his career. And Anthony Davis is really starting to give me that impression that at some point in time that he's heading to next. Phenomenal player, but I don't know what he's not doing right. I don't know if he's not eating right. I don't know if he needs to get a trainer. I don't know. He had all the talent in the world to be top tier player.
That leads to a perfect segue, Big Rob. We're talking about injuries and eating right. That brings it back to you in New Orleans with Zion Williamson. Are we going to see his face anytime soon?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you about who the guy that Big Rob has affectionately nicknamed Snacks. So, Zion Williamson is down here, and the number one thing he needs to do, he needs to tell his family to shut up. He needs to tell them to go sit down. I'm the one that's making this money. Y'all need to shut up and let me talk. If he not coming out and saying anything, because through this whole thing, he has said nothing. He ain't said not one word. It's always been his stepdad or his uncle he wants to be traded. He can play. He can do this. Unless it's Zion Williamson saying something, I would not take it with a grain of salt. But the one thing he does need to do is what he's doing right now. He's with the team and he's actually practicing. they allowed him to start doing 5-on-5, but it's not with the team. And with his injury, he broke his foot. Zion Williamson is 285 pounds, and he likes to jump real high and land real hard. So if he don't rehab that thing the right way, he's not coming back. And to try to force a trade right now, nobody's gonna want you because number one, every season you come into the off season or to the preseason overweight, or you hurt, or you have a surgery.
No, you're absolutely right.
Everybody is seeing that. Every other team is seeing that. So now you're going into your contract year, and everybody's going to want to see what you have. So unless you're going to go out there with the Pelicans and ball all the way out, you're not forcing your way out of New Orleans, brother.
Now, well, Marcus Best and him and the bust for some reason. He loves Marcus Best and bust goes hand in hand. I don't know why. I'm not quoting him. Happy birthday, by the way. But what?
Happy birthday, bro.
Is he a bust?
Happy
Is
birthday.
he a Drake Oden?
Happy birthday, Big Dog.
Is he a Kwame Brown?
I'm not.
You can't use Kwame. Kwame Brown was a victim of where he was drafted and who was on that team when he was drafted. Kwame Brown actually carved out a nice, solid career for himself.
Right, and I think that's what he's asking.
Exactly.
Right, and I think that's what Amir's asking. Is he a Greg Oden where you only played 48 games, or are you a Kwame Brown where they thought you were a bust, but then you turned it around? Now, Zion has the ability to turn it around. All he has to do is get healthy. Once he gets healthy, and like I've been going to the games, and from game to game, Zion's size looks way different. Like I went to the game Friday, and he looked like he was wide. I went to the game Sunday, and he was thinner. So I don't know what's going on with Zion, but I mean, he's doing something. That's all.
It's optical illusion.
Right. And like I see, somebody saying, he's out there doing, 360 dunks and everything. Yeah, he's doing 360 dunks while he's practicing with coaches that's not going at him hard. When you're doing 5-on-5 drills with actual players and y'all actually playing hard, you're doing a whole lot more than when you're out there with coaches in the little pads that they might be hitting you. So just because he put the little video up, okay, he put a video up where he dunked it through his legs. That's not a game time situation. They go be out there on the hunt. You see what's going on in these playoff series. They are on the hunt, and you can't just go out there with a foot that's halfway healed. So,
speaking of halfway healed, and in this same regard, we're talking about old Benjamin Simmons. Now, we don't know if his name is Ben or Benjamin or forgetting Benjamin or Private Benjamin. Either way, you know what I'm saying? Broke back, what is going on?
Brooklyn.
Here's a legit question, though. Here's a legit question. Can Ben Simmons' career be salvaged? What you got, Dex?
Oh, no question. Yes. No question. But first things first, get past this blocking. Rich Paul, I need you to reach out to somebody, get on somebody's couch. He needs to sit down with a behavioral health expert, sit down and start breaking down these barriers that he's got in place and stop stealing money. Because that's the bottom line he's doing right now. He is with no gun. He is holding up the Nets. He's held up the 76ers and getting away scot-free without a mask on. I mean, I am proud of him. He is not resorting to violence, but he is sure enough robbing everybody right now. But he needs some professional assistance. But there has to be something. He has to have a love for the game that we haven't seen yet. Because if you had a real love for the game, you'd work on that broke jumper. Because that jumper is disgusting. Like I can literally get my daughter outside right now, beat him in a jumper contest right now. So he needs to show love for the game.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Now there was a mention of Zion doing his 360s off the Titantron dunks or whatever. Simmons is actually going through his drills in Brooklyn uniform pre-game. So Fleck, how can you go from that, and then getting out the bench wearing Starburst Skittles colors and coming onto the court and actually playing, because, well, for one, it's a fashion faux pas, they say. If my team is black and gray and white, why the hell am I wearing Starburst and Skittle colors? That's one. And two, that's like bringing attention to myself. Ben Simmons, got a messed up back, but I look like I can taste the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do to get myself on the court?
Rob hit this one right on the head. That boy needs some mental health. He need to go see a psychiatrist, man. I mean, that's what's wrong with him right now. Like, this dude said his what did he say? His mental health is what's causing his back issues. Is what's causing his back issues.
He's having a mental block.
You need to go see a doctor, brother. You already lost 20 plus mil when you didn't play for Philly. You barely
I think we're saying the same thing here. I didn't mean to cut you off. Now we're saying the same thing. This is not a Naomi Osaka situation where she's dropping out of tournaments where she can't play. Help was given to him in Philadelphia prior to the trade. Are we on agreement to this?
Yes.
Help was given to him when he arrived in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Correct? We're on agreement to this.
Yep.
Yes.
We don't know if he's taking that.
Right.
We don't know if he's trying.
That's what I was about.
We don't know what can he do to take his narrow behind from psychology onto the basketball court. Because I'm telling you right now, if I'm Kyrie, KD, Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, or whoever else is on that basketball court, I'm stopping him aside the head and say, hey, you might want to taste the rainbow. You're going to taste this slap. You don't get your butt on the goddamn court.
No accountability. Exactly.
What can we do?
Yeah.
No accountability. I mean, with him,
and we're going to see.
He has to want to be on the court. I mean, that's what it boils down to. He has to want to be on the court. It. You're not going to push him to the court. You can't make him get out there. You're going to have to want to be out there.
You know, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, at some point, you have to think that the Kardashian curse is real. Everybody,
Devin Booker's doing his thing.
Well, Devin Booker, but
that is
the same girl. Yeah,
with a hamstring injury now.
The same girl.
Yeah, he is out with a hamstring injury. But you look at, let's start with the first one. Bruce Jenner, he decided to turn into a woman.
No comment.
Lamar Odom almost killed himself. Chris Middleton, was that his name?
No, Humphreys.
No.
What happened to him?
Don't put that curse on Middleton.
Humphreys, he just disappeared. Reggie Bush married somebody who looked just like him. He went crazy. Kanye West. I don't know what's happening with that, but it's something when people start getting tangled up in that family. They just start losing their minds, and you know you kind of want them to not mess with them or not lose their mind. You don't want to push it on this family, but it kind of happens, and it's always repeating that cycle. So maybe it is. Maybe it's just as real as the Madden curse. Who knows?
So before we get off this topic, there was a comment made. I know it's a joke, but it actually makes sense. Simmons needs to go to the Kyrie School of Mental Balance. We all know that's BS. We got that. But with that being said, did Kyrie Irving hurt the Brooklyn Nets by sitting out because he didn't want to get vaccinated or whatever the laws was in New York at the time? And is Kyrie, as Stephen A. Smith will say, a fraud? You know, he sits out parts of the season, he disappears. So I guess it's a two-part question. Is he to blame? And can this relationship with Kyrie and the Nets be salvaged?
Is he the blame for them getting swept? Is that what you're asking?
I'm pretty sure there's more to blame, but does he have a majority part of it?
No. For me, that's all on there. I feel like as the coach, you should have been able to game plan around that at least one game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your players have to hit the shots, but you have to put them in a position to hit those shots. And I mean, the Celtics was throwing 3 bodies at KD at times. Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year. Shout out to Marcus Smart.
First of all,
he played pretty tight defense on Kyrie. I don't know the exact numbers, but if you go look at the numbers when he was the main guard on Kyrie, he locked him down. But
no doubt.
But no, Steve Nash for me is the blame. Because as a coach, you're supposed to put them players in the best position. If how can they be throwing 2 and 3 bodies at KD and the ball's not being swung? Nothing. So I mean, hey.
Look, somebody said it.
Where you at with Kyrie?
Me? Where am I at with Kyrie? I was done with him when he left Boston.
Are you still upset that he stepped on the little leprechaun?
No, I was done with him when he left Boston. You don't tell me that you love me and then you leave me. I'm just saying.
You got a semblance of a
Amir knows I hold grudges.
You got a semblance of a
knows how I feel about the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I'm thinking.
All right, whoa. Now, with that being said, I guess we can segue to why we're here today, right? I guess from those that don't want to play to those who are dying to play in the NFL, being professionals. I guess a perfect segue. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, for the 2022 NFL Draft. First round. We're not doing all 7. We ain't got all weekend. We do have lives, except for Fleck. But we are here. We are here to mock draft the 2022. Now, obviously, we're not going to project any trades. We do expect trades to happen. We're not here for none of that. We are just here to say these are the current picks. These who we think. I may not agree with Fleck, Big Rob, or Jimmy, or they might not agree with me, and that's okay. But guess what? If my pick is taken, I got to move on just like any other NFL team. All right? With that being said, Jacksonville Jaguars, you're on the clock. Oh, that's me. I guess I'm continuing to talk. If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, if I'm Tony Khan, the president, I believe that's his president's son. What are the team needs for Jacksonville Jaguars? Pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything. Quarterback and running back. That's it.
You know,
they just
who's gonna protect Joey? My name is Trevor, not Joey Lawrence. You know what I'm saying, with the Goldilocks. Who's gonna protect him? You know.
Remember the Titans.
And it's crazy because if we think about it, the first pick was a lock up about 2-3 weeks ago. The first pick was a lock. We had as a lock. We all agreed it was a lock.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Trayvon Walker came out of nowhere. You know, now we knew that they might go offensive line. Probably Neal was up there as as the first pick. We don't blame him. But even today, they
extended.
I guess some reports came out of Neal's medical history that he may not be healthy enough to produce as a first rounder. And obviously those are teams probably leaking so they can drop it. We get it. These are the games we see every season with the NFL drop, you know. If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, which we picked out of a hat, I got the first pick. I select Aiden Hutchinson, Michigan defensive end. Now, many might say it's safe. Many might say it's the right pick. I don't think it can go wrong with this draft. You got the Big Ten most valuable player. You got the defensive player of the year, 14 sacks last season. I don't see how there's enough on the board to go away from this pick. What do you guys think?
No, I think you're right. He's been the consensus number one for the majority of the offseason. Like you said, Trayvon Walker here in the last few weeks has been gaining steam. But I think Jacksonville, you have to hit on these. you've been mediocre for too long. You got to hit on these, and I think Aiden Hutchinson is the safest pick. Trayvon Walker may end up having a better career, but right now, Aiden Hutchinson is the safe pick.
Lions, you're on the clock.
For me, from my perspective.
Go ahead, Rob.
Let me get one in before you jump on the next one.
No, go ahead, Rob.
I still think they need to protect Trevor. I'm so pretty, Lawrence, because if he not a clean jersey, if he doesn't have a clean jersey, their chances of winning go out the window. But I see that I'm with you on the Aiden Hutchinson, but the kid out of North Carolina State, it's hard for me not to say Gospel. It is very hard because the kid is a phenom. But like Flex said, they got to hit on these picks, and Hutchinson is the most solid of those. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
No, you're definitely not wrong. This is a solid top 3 offensive lineman. We're talking about Charlie Cross. We're talking about Neal. We're talking about Iquanu. You know, I don't think they would get blasted by the media, because I guess that's all that matters, right? Or their fan base, if they went with the offensive line, because those 3 honestly can just be penciled in right now as an all-pro starter. So I don't think they can go wrong with the offensive line.
But you don't extend Cam Robinson, which they just did today. They just gave Cam Robinson a 3-year, I think it was $54 million. You don't give him that much money just to throw him on the right side.
No.
And you're not going to draft one of these guys number 1 and throw them on the right side. Just right. All right, so at number 2, we got the Detroit Lions. And the pick is in. With the second pick, I got the Lions selecting the aforementioned Trayvon Walker, defensive end from the University of Georgia. With this guy, you're getting it. I mean, he has the upside. If he wants it, he can be great. At 270 pounds, dude ran a 4.5 at 275. 4.5. That's receiver speed at the defensive end position at 275 pounds. I thought about going with the quarterback here for the Lions, but I think you got Jared Goff. This is a supposed weak quarterback crop this year. Go out there, ball with Jared Goff. If he sucks, then you're right back in the same position to get another high pick with a better crop of quarterbacks. I think you have to help that defense out. That's why Trayvon Walker is my pick.
Just a quick question for the public. For those that are watching, would y'all take a quarterback with the second pick with the Lions? And we can circle back. We can circle back to that. I just want to see what the public opinion is. But you made great points there, Fleck, with Walker being picked at 2, and that's why he might even projected at 1 with his speed, his size, what he did with Georgia. Is there any other option outside of quarterback that can fall
for
here?
The Lions? Honestly, with all the talk around Sauce right now, Sauce Gardner, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions went with him at 2. They need help in that secondary, but I think you help them.
Sauce is moving up. Sauce has been moving up. That is moving. A fact.
Stingley's rising too.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm gonna get to you here in a second, Jimmy. The Texans are on the clock at 3. We'll get to them in a second. What says you, Jimmy, about pick number 2? Heck, what says you about pick 1 and 2?
Well, I was sitting there, I was listening to everything y'all saying. Pick 1, you definitely want to look somewhere to keep Trevor Lawrence clean, because the boy is running for his life, and he definitely not used to that. Sunshine is definitely not used to running for his life like that. But taking offensive line or defensive line, taking Hutchinson with number 1, that's it's never a bad pick. to go defensive end or defensive line on your first pick. You see what's going on with all these people. You see Aaron Donald, you see Nick Bosa, you see Joey Bosa, all these guys on defensive end, and that that's what wins championships. So to build up that defense should be where they start. Now you can get other things as far as somebody to protect Lawrence later on in the draft or through free agency, but right now I do believe they need to focus right there on that defensive line and make sure they get that thing shored up. As far as the Detroit Lions, I don't know what they're gonna do with Jared Goff. They don't know what they're gonna do with Jared Goff, but everybody knows that the Detroit Lions will waste talent. So the best thing for them to do is go defense and try to get mean on defense and let the offense catch up. As long as they don't have to score too many points, as long as the defense is shutting people down, the offense should be able to keep up to help them win more games than they've been winning. Because you saw that all last season, a lot of the games they was winning, and then the defense kind of got tired, they got gassed, and they let people back in, and they lost the game. So as long as they get a defense in there that's gonna stop people from scoring, the offense should be able to do what they need to do.
Now, last year, the Detroit Lions went offensive lineman first round. I picked number 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He went after Jamar. He went after Jamar Chase, right? Because the Bengals because I think Jamar Chase went 5. Help me out there. If you're out there, help me. I think Jamar Chase went 5, so Peanuts should have went like 6 or 7. I think it was.
No, I don't. I think it was top 4. So that's what. Yeah.
Sewell.
I believe it was. I believe it was 4th. I'm pretty sure we got some masters out there throwing in the Google machine. Well, the reason I'm bringing him up is because he did his job, right? Penny Sewell 7. So
yeah,
that was a hell of a pick for what Detroit needed last year, and he did his job and stepped in. Pro Bowl offensive lineman. So, and the only reason I'm bringing him up is there any way the Lions go another offensive lineman to shore up that line in this?
There's no. I don't. I mean, they got what's the? Oh my God. They got Swell, and then they got Betts. You out there? What's the boy on the left side of the? Which is why I was shocked that they picked Swell last year, because I was like, you're picking that high. Why are you going to be throwing him on the right side? I can't remember the guy's name. Their line is fine. The offensive line for the Lions is fine.
With that being said, what excuse does Jared Goff or if they decide to draft a quarterback by what excuse do they have going forward with a good offensive line?
They need better receivers. I mean, outside of St. Brown, who name a line receiver outside of St. Brown? You really can't.
Yeah, you're not gonna pick a wide receiver at 2. They're good, but not that good.
No. And I'm not saying that they're gonna do that here, but the question was, if it's not line, what do they do? What do they need? Do they
trade down?
But you're not.
Do they trade down with somebody like the Eagles or Saints or somebody who has double?
That's very possible. That would probably be
the smart thing for them to do. The pick is in for the Houston Texans.
And that's on you, Big Robbery.
Oh, I am so sorry. Look, why am I up here just sitting up here like, what, are we going to go ahead and say that pick or not? That was my fault. And we already know where I'm going to go because they need everything. So with them needing everything and you have a young quarterback, why not get somebody to try to help him stay upright? Again, we all know what my infatuation college-wise is because we like winning. So my natural pick at this juncture is Neal, offensive tackle out of Alabama. To go ahead and secure that lineup. I know he's got some like you said earlier, I think that's spread so that he could drop down to a certain point so that we know GMs are liable to do this. But when it comes to being able to move to every position on the line, Evan Neal has that covered. He locks down the side that whatever position he's in, he locks it down. He helps to clear out the hole for running backs. He's led the way for 3,000-yard rushers since 2000. In the last 3 years, yeah, we had 3,000-yard rushers or more. We've also had a Heisman-winning quarterback, and we've also had a Heisman-winning wide receiver out of Alabama. So it just makes sense to me, in that position. They can go ahead and start a culture, hopefully, of winning with the new head coaching regime that rolls in, trying to recover from the fiasco that is Deshaun Watson. It's a needed change.
Now, let me ask you a question here, Rob.
Anybody have any other thoughts on that?
With Evan Neal, I don't know. I kind of just, if I could throw away those Alabama games when they playing these junior colleges week in and week out. But was Evan Neal injury prone? Was he susceptible to injury? After reports came out today that he may slide due to his injury history. I hadn't seen it, and I haven't read it. I think he's still here. Rob, what says is that a fact? Is that true?
No, he's had some injuries. He's had some, but nothing to where I would think he would be injury. He's a beast. Great work ethic. He has a great mind for the game. I honestly, like we said earlier, I truly believe that this is a GM or a couple of GMs spreading that information, that misinformation out here, so that they can get a top tier player to slide in the draft down to a position where they can, like, okay, I don't have to trade up and give away my whole franchise just to get this guy. All I have to do is put the misinformation out there, and then voila, he'll slide right to me.
I'm gonna get to you two here in a second, but I just want to say the New York, New Jersey Jets Jets pick is in. You guys being SEC fans, one Florida, one LSU, seen a lot of Evan Neal, pancaking your guys, as they say in football. Give us your perspective on Evan Neal. Jimmy?
First of all, I won't say I don't like him. That probably means he's pretty good, because he was doing a masterful job at controlling that defensive line of my LSU Tigers, and he hurt me very deeply. And I'm 100% happy to see him go. So I need him to get drafted as high as possible, so I can make sure that he will not be lining up against my LSU Tigers next year. Now, in saying that, I do think that the Houston Texans are going to go offensive line right here, because they need to protect that child they got back there, so that he is not getting his head knocked off. But Evan Neal, it was a toss up for me as far as who was going with this pick, because we got some offensive line that'll be going in the first round, and Evan Neal is probably the best choice at this point for the Houston Texans to take.
Fleck, what says you?
As a Gator fan, I didn't see Evan Neal in Alabama as often as Jim and LSU did, but we saw him a couple of times. Dude is a road grader, man. I mean, he's nasty. He's nasty at the point of attack, man. Like you're not going to see very many bodies getting around this man. This dude is humongous. What, 330? Like, dude is humongous. I mean, you're not getting around that city block.
And he dropped weight.
So what puts him ahead of a guy whose stock is actually rising in Cross?
I think Cross is an unknown. I'm not going to say unknown. I don't want that to be put out in the atmosphere. He's not an unknown. He's not as known as an Evan Neal,
right.
or
that's what I was just about to say.
You know what I mean?
with Evan Neal playing at Alabama, that means he had more TV time for lack of a better term. So people saw him more.
Exposure.
Right. But I don't think you can go wrong with any of those top three tackles with Evan Neal, Ickey, and Charles Cross.
Yeah.
All righty. So with the fourth pick, the New York, New Jersey Jets select.
What I think is happening for them, I think they're also going offensive line. So I believe they're going to take Ekim, and I don't want to mess this guy's name up because he's pretty big, and I'm not trying to get him to sit on me. Ikem Ekwonu.
You said it perfectly.
That's who I think they're taking.
North Carolina State.
Yep, North Carolina State. They breed them big down there. Zach Wilson will need some help to stay upright. We know he got wheels, but we don't need him to use the wheels as much as he's been using those wheels. So I do think that they're gonna go ahead and take him. He's a big boy out there. You know, during the combine, he ran 4.93. You know, stuff like that. Some of the stuff that they're saying about him, he's an excellent locker room guy, which we've seen that. He can fit into any blocking scheme. He's plug and play. So he'll be a day one starter, plug and play down there in New York, New Jersey. He can run block with the best of them. We know that's what they're trying to do up there with the Jets. They're trying to develop a running game. They have receivers, so I'm told, but they're trying to develop a running game because you can't throw the ball without being able to run the ball. So he has great body control, so he can mirror linebackers that's coming at him, and his hands got better in the 2021 season. He didn't get as many holding penalties. He didn't get caught in that type of trouble in this last season. So that's why I think they're going to go offensive tackle here, and he'll be a good fit and good pickup out there in New York, New Jersey.
Fleck, does Ekwonu coming out or playing in a weak ACC this past season, does it hurt him? I guess does it help him? Does it hurt him? You choose. You can't
teach talent. You can't teach talent. You can't teach talent. And this guy's got talent. No matter what conference he's in, he has talent. You've seen some of these guys from some of these smaller colleges that are just taking over the league right now. Cooper Kupp came from Eastern Washington Junior College, where he come from. I don't think schools matter as much now as it did in years past. Where you come from, you can't teach talent, and they're going to find talent.
Speaking of the New York, New Jersey Jets, the New York, New Jersey Giants selection is in. Before we get to that pick, Rob, any comments on this pick, Ekwonu being number 4 to the Jets?
Looking at his footwork, even though the ACC was very off balance this year than what it usually is, his footwork, his hand placement, and then how he blocks up in second level, open up pathways for running backs and clearing ways for individuals when they need it. It's a no-brainer. Like we said, you can't really go wrong with any of the top 3 offensive tackles, and he's top tier.
I'm looking at the comments here. I guess I'll just ask a question to the group here. Does a wide receiver get taken top 5 at this point? Like outside of the talent that's already there, like we've gone through this list, we've done our homework. They've done their homework, not knocking them. But as a wide receiver, we got to think about these teams now. These general manager, and yes, team needs, obviously. Team needs speaks volumes upon what we think is best for our teams. But does a wide receiver get picked top 5? Top 4, heck.
And I would have went with the receiver to the Jets. If I was making that selection for the Jets at 4, I would have went with, a Garrett Wilson. Drake London scares me. You know what I mean? He only played 8 games at USC this last year before he went out with the injury. He scares me. He scares me. But at 4, I think a Garrett Wilson could have went at 4 to the Jets.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at, I don't foresee it, especially with the Jets having 2 picks in the top 10. So you can go our offensive line here because he might get snatched, and then at 10 you might be able to come back around and snatch one of the receivers.
There's 7. If my research, only mine, not nobody else's, and I looked at all the drafts between all the Mel Kipers out there, or ESPN, NFL draft, there's 7 projected wide receivers that might get picked up in the first round. 7, at least 7. So I think Jimmy, you just said it best. There's no need to panic and picking a wide receiver 4. Not one wide receiver really stood out more than another. Everybody has their flaws. Everybody has their strengths. There's not a Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase in this scenario, kind of. So, you can mix and match these wide receivers. Now, that's the reason I'm getting to that. And Big Rob, I'm going to ask you, do you reach for a wide receiver at number 4?
No. Their needs are too great after the season that Zach Wilson had last year. He needs protection. And the only way you're going to make that generational change and take advantage of that generational talent is to allow that individual to be able to stay upright. They have young wide receivers that are going to blossom this year. This year, we'll see the wide receiver that came out of Ole Miss last year. I think he's going to get a lot of people this year when he starts getting the ball more, because now that Zach Wilson has linemen that could keep his uniform clean. So I wouldn't reach right now. Not at this point. 4 is way too high. And I wouldn't take a wide receiver in the top 5 because the needs of those 5 teams is way greater than a wide receiver. They need a lot more than a wide receiver right now.
Yeah, I forgot the Jets had Elijah Moore. I forgot they picked up Elijah Moore last year. So they're straight. Yeah. They got
Corey Davis,
Braxton Berrios,
Davis. They got Moore. They got some young wide receivers that are coming up, and they're going to be.
They just signed CJ Uzomah, assuming he stays healthy. Obviously,
right?
They got weapons on
tight end too, right?
Yeah, CJ Uzomah.
Tyler Croft, was it? I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they got weapons, and I believe here is, can Zach Wilson stay on his feet? I agree. I will go offensive line myself if I was a Jets personnel. But with the 5th pick, the New York, New Jersey Giants, and this fell on me, pure coincidence, wink, wink. I was kind of torn here. Mainly, I was hoping either Neil or Equano fell to 5th. My backup pick is there, and I was thinking about reaching for Cross because the Giants need offensive line help. But if you look back at where the Giants were dominant in their Super Bowl runs, it was defensive line. So I'm kind of hoping, and I'm only picking as a fan, but I don't think I'm wrong here either, is I'm going to go with the boy from Oregon. I'm going to go with Thibodeau. And for me, it's more of a Kayvon Thibodeau for me, 6'5", 258. The boy played. He showed up, and yes, I get it. It's a Pac-10, weaker S conference where they stay on their feet, is pass happy. Let's see. He was first team all conference, 7 sacks his previous year, only playing, I believe, 9 games he opted out. He opted out of the Rose Bowl so he can, be ready for the draft. But this was tough for me. I went Kayvon Thibodeau. I went Kayvon Thibodeau here in hopes that the Giants defensive line could put some pressure on Dak Prescott, Hurts, and that irrelevant dude in the Washington, the redhead, what's his name? Carson Wentz. I'm not necessarily worried about him, but as a fan, I went Kayvon Thibodeau here. Reason being mainly because we lost. Equanu and Neal didn't fall to 5. I'm telling you right now, if Equanu and Neal falls to 5, I'm jumping on one of these offensive linemen as a Giants. But they didn't. So I went defensive line. I say, hey, the Giants, let's go. Kevin Thibodeau. What do you think, Fleck?
I like it. It's just with him, are you going to get that effort 100%? Because that's the only knock on him right now. I mean, he can be a generational talent, or he can turn into another Jadeveon Clowney, which I guess isn't half bad, but I mean, it's not what has been expected. Does he have the will to want to get after it play after play? Because that's the only knock on him, is that he doesn't play at 100% all the time. Which is why, you see a lot of videos of him getting knocked back on his butt because he doesn't fire off the ball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if they get that beast that comes in there, if Thibodeau comes in there and he puts in work, the Giants gonna have a beast on defensive line. Now, if he doesn't, he comes in and he tries to coast through and say, "Oh, I'm a top 10 talent," and he feel like he can just do whatever he want to do. It's what's the word that Betts likes to say? A bust. I don't know. You can't say that he'll be a bust right now, but if he don't come in and put in work, then he'll definitely be on that road, in my opinion. But if he puts in work, he has everything he needs to be a complete beast out there in the Meadowlands.
Rob, let me ask you a question. Better or worse or same as a healthy Chase Young in Washington?
Is Thibodeau? Nah, you can't compare him to Chase Young.
Oh,
not.
No. No, he's not on that level. No.
Can I hope? Can I dream? As a Giants fan, can I shoot for the moon and say if he shows up as a healthy,
exactly, he has that upside.
Because what if? Okay, what if Chase Young is not healthy? What if he gets hurt again? What if he's and I hate the word bust, because people want to shoot for the moon because they get drafted so high. There's a lot of pressure, and it's not on the player, it's on the management on why they picked up these players so high or put them in 1, 2, 3. And that's a whole other show. I'm not trying to get hyped up, but what if Kayvon Thibodeau can be a Chase Young? Talk to me, Rob.
Chase Young, I mean, like you said, anything's possible. It's going to depend on where his mentality's at, because with him, he has to buy in, and if he buys in and understands that he needs to be a part of this process, that's the change in that culture, he has the potential. He has the potential, but what he's going to find out, though, is that he's going to get the best of those 4th, 3rd round, 5th round players that are now on the roster and who are literally starters on that Giants team, and he's going to have to put the chin strap on and bring the lunch pail to work, because he has all the tools. He has all the tools. It's just where is his mentality.
I don't mean to cut you off, Rob. Right. You're absolutely right. But the Carolina Panthers at 6 pick is in. Go ahead and finish your thought.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Keep it moving.
We're having some time. Anybody else got anything to say about Thibodeau?
The Chase Young comparison it's not a bad one, but he has to play up to his full potential in order for me to be like, yeah, he's on the Chase Young level. Because right now, I mean, yeah, Chase Young was hurt last year, but I mean, dude put up a rookie season for the ages. So.
Right, but okay. No, I so want to get on this boom or bust conversation, but that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. Marcus Betts, I know it's your birthday, but you can cry when you want to, but not on this show. We're not going to talk about boom or bust on this show as much as I want to. But
it's too early for that anyway.
Hold on, real quickly. Does an injury make you a bust? Flip. No. Jimmy?
No.
Rob?
Now, if you continue to stay injured.
Yeah, if you're injury prone, yes.
Right.
But Greg Oden, which we going back to that comparison, he was a bust because he couldn't stay healthy. He was injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it's a Alex Smith type, knee injury,
right,
and that ruins your career, then no, I would not consider you a bust because that's not something you could have planned for right there.
The Carolina Panthers pick is in. Go ahead.
With the 6th pick, I had the distinction of picking for the Panthers, GM for the Panthers. I think, of course, we don't predict trades, but I think if we did predict trades, unless a team trades up, this is probably the most logical spot for the first quarterback to come off the board. Matt Rule's on the hot seat. So I think you can't go into the season with Sam Darnold and PJ Walker as your 1 and your 2. So I got the Carolina Panthers taking Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. Malik Willis definitely has the most upside, but I don't know if Matt Rule has the time to develop him. Kenny Pickett is the most NFL-ready quarterback, in my opinion. They got to find something under center. The only knock on him, he's got little hands, but there's a. I don't know if that's as much of a stigma anymore as it used to be, but that's the only knock on him. He's got little hands. He's the most NFL ready, in my opinion.
Are you basing off that fake slide move he did?
That fake slide? He can be able to do that in the NFL. You get his head knocked off. Slide.
He might never do that again.
Yeah. He could try it.
But I think he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. I mean, that's not saying much.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Jimmy, who do you think is the most NFL-ready quarterback out of this bunch?
I like Pickett. He has something special with him. I also like Matt Corral, who is probably pretty close to being ready to go. But yeah, I think Pickett would be the most NFL ready to going into this particular draft. Now, a lot of people say had Trey Lance gone back to school last year, he would be the consensus number 1 quarterback off the board, probably the number 1 pick. We wouldn't know because the 49ers mortgaged their entire future on picking him last year, and we gonna see what they end up doing. Now, this could be a good place where you might see a trade come in, because it's a whole lot of speculation that the Carolina Panthers are also looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. So you could see some type of trade right here where they trade back. They don't necessarily trade this pick to the 49ers, but they end up trading back some kind of way and trading for Garoppolo right here in working something out where somebody gets this pick, 49ers get something, and they get Garoppolo. So that's a possibility as well. Rob, what were you saying? Go ahead.
I think that point is why the Panthers have to take quarterback here. They've been linked to Garoppolo. They've been linked to Baker. They've been linked to Russ before he went to Denver. They were linked to, you know what I'm saying? They're linked to every quarterback that becomes available. They were linked to Deshaun Watson. So
right, yeah.
I think they have to. I mean, who would you take if you were the Panthers picking here? Who would you guys take?
Me? You don't want to know who I would take, because if it was me, I would be trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. But that's me. That's because I have this on, and I'm trying to get $25 million off my books. But of course, playing devil's advocate, yes, either way it go, they need to get a quarterback, because we all know Darnold is not it. I don't know why he was ever it, but Darnold is not it. They're not bringing Cam back.
Number 2.
Yeah, so they got to get a quarterback, and if they don't think
the
that
Giants pick is in, by the way,
ready,
fellas, the Giants pick is in.
Yeah, if they don't think that Pickett is NFL ready, then they can go ahead and make a trade for a quarterback that's already in the NFL.
Now, okay. Now, mind you guys, we're going to kind of speed this up. We don't want to be here all night. With that being said, we're only picking based upon who's on record. We're not projecting trades. We're not doing trades. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I do believe there's going to be a bunch of trades tomorrow. I believe the Saints will move up. I believe the Eagles will move up. The Steelers looking to move up because the Giants are looking to move down. I think the Panthers will move down as well. So, with that being said, the Giants at 7, shockingly, pick up Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the AAC Defensive Player of the Year, Cincinnati. Is not. I can talk about this kid all night, but the only thing that stood out for me was he didn't give up a touchdown, a receiving touchdown, his whole 3 years in Cincinnati.
That's crazy.
Like, to me, that's insane. Like we went
crazy.
Our generation, we went from Revis Island to now, burnt toast. Jamal Ramsey in the Super Bowl. We just saw that. Granted, we're not going to take that name away from Eli Apple, but even the shutdown Richard Sherman's, even the shutdown corners, didn't do what he did. And I get it. The conference is weaker. The competition is weaker. Yes, I get it. I'm not saying he's going to show up in the NFL and not give up touchdowns. It's going to happen. We get it. But he is the number 1 corner-ready cornerback going into the NFL. And for here, I'm gonna go defense again with the Giants. Surprisingly for me, because I really thought or think, we need as much offensive line help. But outside of Ekwonu and Neal, Cross is the only one that comes to mind at this point. They don't get Cross, it has to be Sauce. No Cross has to be Sauce. I'm a patent that. No Cross has to be Sauce.
Do you think that's too rich for Cross? Do you think 7 is too rich for Cross?
No. I just think that I think he's hurt by playing in that ACC, if I'm being honest with you. Cross will come in and start. There's no doubt about that. You don't draft Cross top 10, top 15, and he comes off anybody's bench. He will start any team, but I really believe in this aspect. The Giants are not starving offensive line. They signed 2 free agent offensive linemen. They're not starving on offensive line. I think their issue starts at quarterback, not offensive line. So I believe they shore up the defense and the offense falls short this year. I think they will go second round, at a tackle. They will finally see that Daniel Jones wasn't the answer. So if they shore up the defense and they know going into next season the defense is on point, on lock, they get themselves a quarterback next year, and once again the Giants are playing for a playoff spot. That's just me. What y'all think?
Anytime you have a nickname,
Daniel Manning back there. As long as y'all got Daniel Manning back there, yeah, y'all gonna be picking top 5.
The man tripped over his feet and the grass and the turf, or the powder was too high. I don't know.
I mean, he was showing that blazing speed. He was showing that blazing speed. He was right there. But I mean, Eli back to the cornerbacks.
Eli would never.
You know, when you coming in and you got a nickname like Sauce, I don't know if he gave himself the nickname. I don't know if somebody else gave him the nickname. But when you got a nickname like Sauce, that means you coming in and you putting something down somewhere. That, you know, he is probably the most NFL ready cornerback that's coming out in this draft that, you know, that's got all the teams chomping at the bit. You probably have teams that don't need a cornerback out there talking about they won't trade up to get Sauce.
Hey, I don't want to. Betts asks, is Daniel Jones a bust? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 100%, sir. Yes. His name is
again. No cross. We need the sauce. And the Falcons are 8. The pick is in. What we got, gentlemen?
What you got for us, Rob?
For the number 8 pick, you got to go. You lost Matt Ryan this year. You're putting all your money on Marcus Mariota, but you need to set up for the future. Right now, they honestly need a lot. But for right now, there's no way you can pass on Malik Willis. That level of talent and the possibility of what could be in the city that brought us Michael Vick, you have to take a leap at it. Because anybody remember what Mike brought to Atlanta? For that right now, you have to take a reach for it. The talent level that Malik Willis possesses,
to compare the legacy of Mike Vick to any quarterback coming in?
Right. We're not saying he's Michael Vick. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say he's Michael Vick. But the possibility of what he can bring to the Atlanta offense compared to what Matt Ryan gave him, which to me, honestly, I don't think Ryan did a horrible job. He missed beats, he missed some throws. I got it. But they're starting for a dynamic type player at quarterback. And if you want somebody who's dynamic, big arm, and really fast, really quick, you got to look at Malik Willis at this point. What do you think, Flake?
If I'm the Falcons at 8, I'm taking a receiver. Simple fact being, you got Mariota. He signed for 2 years. If he comes out and stinks up the place, you're picking top 5 next year anyway. Better crop of quarterbacks. That's my whole thing. And the Falcons need as much for short talent. Like you can gamble on a Malik Willis if you're that close to competing. But you're gonna spend, if you take him and include the 5th-year option on a first-round picks deal, you're gonna spend them whole 5 years trying to build your team back up. So I think they need to take as much for short talent that they can put out on the field day one as they possibly can.
Yeah, and you know
now if you had a chance to go with wide receiver, which one would you go with?
I mean, all of them on the board. You got Garrett Wilson, I like him. Drake London, I like him. What's your boy from Alabama?
The Seattle Seahawks is on the clock.
The Falcons have never gone wrong with taking a receiver from Alabama. I just want to point that out to you. Although,
well, I mean, you got Mr.
Calvin Ridley did take some time off. He did take some time off, but I'm just saying.
You want to bet?
Also, don't let this distract you from the fact that the Falcons.
Real quick, guys. Real quick. The Falcons this year. Let's just look at and Best brought up exact point I was about to make. Marcus Mariota starting quarterback. He will start the season regardless of who they draft, I believe. Cordell Patterson, Mr. Does It All. Kyle Pitts, top 5 projected tight end. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marcus Mariota has never been the guy who's been projected to throw for 3,000, 4,000 yards. Never.
Not at all.
Even coming out of Oregon, became in second, drafted for Jameis Winston. He was never that guy. But he was good enough to move the ball downfield. With that being said, do you think the Falcons will give him a weapon, or they're just playing for years to come, or they're drafting for years to come? What do y'all think?
I think they're drafting for years to come. I think they're in the rebuild, and their Arthur Blank is gone full rebuild mode. So you got Pitts last year. You just re-signed Cordero Patterson. Ridley, whenever his mental health gets back together, he'll be back. But right now, they're just going for the future.
Can you do both? Can you draft the most impact player that you can possibly draft while planning for the future?
You can, but it depends on what kind of rebuild they're in. If they're in a full rebuild, then you don't want to do that. But if you're in a half rebuild or a mild rebuild where you're still playing and you're being competitive right now, you're trying to win a championship, but you're still rebuilding, then you can do that. But they're probably in a full rebuild. That's what I'm seeing.
Then why
I'm
go out?
I'm glad you brought that up, Jimmy. I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry. I'm going to cut you off, Fleck. Do the Falcons trade out of this pick? Reason being, just like you said, they're in full rebuild mode. Yeah. So it don't matter who you pick from 8 to 15. Every guy's going to help you because it can't get worse. Yep. Right? We're talking about a full rebuild here.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you see an Atlanta Falcons trade out at this point?
If
it is definitely
possible. If the right team comes up, I don't think they're going to trade with the Saints.
We're not talking about the right team here. We're talking about the Eagles who got 2 picks.
But who are they coming up?
We're talking about what if the Eagles wanted to move up for a wide receiver here?
Yeah,
everybody keeps forgetting about Kansas City got 2 first-rounders. Yeah, I'm just going to put that out there.
No, and it's true. Again, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons, who's doing a complete rebuild, just like Jimmy said. And I totally agree. Like every pick helps. Nobody hurts them because they can't get no worse. We're looking at the roster, top to bottom, regardless of who's in this draft. Guess what? 2 guys is better than 1 when it comes to the Falcons. Agreed?
Absolutely. I agree.
100%.
Can the Chiefs come up and pick up a London from USC? Can the Chiefs come up and pick up a Jameis Williams from Alabama?
I think the Chiefs, their pick, both of their first round picks are 2. They would have to give up both of those first round picks. Yeah,
the Chiefs are not in need of 2 picks.
Yeah, but I mean, 29 and 30 for the number 8. I don't.
And guess what? The Falcons will take that. I'm telling you right now, anybody that goes from 1 to 32, the Falcons can use. You know what I'm saying? You drop down and you pick up just throwing out there, an Andrew Booth down the line, a cornerback starting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking Falcons, hey, if I got 2 picks now instead of 1, because I need every help I can get, why not? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Like I said, for me, I guess I'll play the other side. For me, it has to be the right. It has to be the right. Like, I'm not gonna trade just to trade. I'm not gonna trade just to trade.
Right? No, it definitely has to be the right situation.
It has to work for me too.
No, it's not the trade. And then I'm gonna cut you off, Mr. Two Belts. We're not talking about fantasy here. We're talking about what can these 2 guys do to our organization other than 1. Can 1 and who has picked here? Malik Willis. Okay, nothing wrong with that. To me, it's a little bit outside the box, but nothing wrong with that pick. But what if they went a wide receiver here? Now, can they get that same wide receiver? Think about this, guys. And I'm hoping these guys out here. What if they pick up they trade with the Chiefs. This is a what if, obviously. They pick up a Treylon Burks out of Arkansas down at 29 and a 30 to pick up a Nakobe Dean at linebacker. Now you're trying to tell me a Treylon Burks at wide receiver and Nakobe Dean at linebacker is not better than a same wide receiver they might get at 8.
I mean, I don't see. I know you just threw 2 names out there, but I don't see either one of those guys dropping that far.
Yeah, they might not drop that far.
I understand. You know what I'm saying, what you're getting at. Yes, two is better than 1, and you need to have as many darts as you can when you're throwing in the dart. But I mean, you're trading out of the top 10 into the bottom half of the first. I mean, I don't know. That could go either way. For me, no, I wouldn't make that trade with the Chiefs.
All right, fellas. Let's keep this moving because we got kind of log jammed right there. So
I can do this all night.
I know you can, but our audience can't stick around all night. we up to the number 9 pick.
Number 9, Seattle Seahawks select.
Seattle Seahawks. They, as a 49er fan, they are my mortal enemies. So I know what they need. I know they're trying to rebuild the Legion of Boom. I know they're trying to come back. They're trying to do everything they need to do to try to stay competitive in the NFC West, where you see the likes of a Cooper Kupp, a Brandon Ayuk, and once he re-signs a Deebo Samuel. And also they got this guy named George Kittle out there. He does things all the time. And not to mention Kyler Murray. So with the number 9 pick, it is my opinion that the Seattle Seahawks will take my guy, Mr. Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. Now, Stingley, this guy, he's gonna come in ready to put a hat on something. He's gonna come in. He's got good mechanics. He's got the speed that you need. His only downside is his run tackling, and that's been going on with cornerbacks a lot. That in the past few years, they don't wrap up. They dive with their shoulders, and that's why you're seeing a lot of them starting to get hurt and they getting stingers because you dive with your shoulders. You're not really wrapping up the way you need to wrap up. Sometimes he'll take a play or 2 off, and he's not. It don't seem like he's trying as much as he needs to. To try every snap, which is something that he needs to develop. And going out to Seattle, he will end up getting that developed and will get it together. And if he plays in tight, all he got to do is make sure he's trusting his natural instincts, because we've all seen him play and we know he has natural instincts. Rob, you've seen him play. You've seen what he's done against your boys and with the Roll Tide. Matter of fact, in 2019, I feel like we was all together when that happened. He did some amazing things against them.
I'm gonna get to Rob here in a second. But the Jets pick is in. Rob, talk to me about Stingley here.
Stingley's tough. He's a really good, strong corner that has great coverage skills, as long as it's not Devontae Smith, and he can cover. He can play. He's quick to the ball. Tackles well. It's a no-brainer, honestly. He's a really good player at that position, and I think Seattle, who's in much need of everything right now, he's a good player to start getting your defense back in the Legion of Boom era type mentality, because he can emulate that Richard Sherman and Jamal Adams, and he can emulate that, because now you have that big cam hitter type, and have someone who could cover like Richard Sherman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I hate to see him go over there because, like I said, they're my mortal enemies. But he is a perfect fit for that type of defensive scheme.
The Jets Jets are back on the clock. What says you?
So it's crazy to think that the Seahawks could have had 2 top 10 picks had they not traded pick 10 to the New York Jets for Jamal Adams. Did the Jets ever replace Jamal Adams? Well, they're about to. With the 10th pick, I got the Jets taking Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. I went back and was watching some of this dude's past film, and this dude, speaking of the Legion of Boom, this dude reminds me of Cam Chancellor. Hard hitting, hard hitter, can walk down to the line and play the run. A gangbanger. Very explosive athlete. Ran a 4.5 at the combine. I went back and was looking at his tape, and I see a young Cam Chancellor in Kyle Hamilton.
I like it. I personally believe Kyle Hamilton should be drafted way before number 10. I think it's a disservice to him falling to 10, and the Jets definitely have a steal here in the draft. And I'm not only saying as a Notre Dame fan, just for the record, for those that don't know that I am a Jets fan. But we are going to move on. The Redskins are on the clock at number 11.
Okay, so quick disclaimer. We're going to stop playing the videos because apparently they didn't like it over on YouTube. So we're not going to do the videos from here on out because YouTube is freaking out on us. So we are going to continue on with the rest of what we got going on. And we're on number 11. Draft 11.
We're at 11.
And for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and go directly to it. Washington's offense, they need another offensive weapon. And this is the perfect position for Garrett Wilson. Honestly, you could pick Wilson, Olave, Williamson. I wouldn't take London this high, but that is my sentiment right now. I would say go with Garrett Wilson to help open up that offense and provide another offensive weapon. And they have a tendency to love wide receivers out of Ohio State and Washington. I'm just saying.
Okay, with that being said, do you guys agree, Fleck, Jimmy, do you guys agree this being the first wide receiver off the board? Fleck?
I like it. You got to get Scary Terry some help over there. McLaurin, you got to get him some help. Take some of that pressure off.
Curtis Samuel.
Say that again with a straight face.
I'm sorry, I was drinking. That crown apple gets to me sometimes. You're right.
Curtis Samuel, he'll make a good number 3. I'll say that about him. But yeah, you got to get and then you got Wentz throwing the ball, so you got to get him as much help as you possibly can. So I agree with you can't go wrong with any. For me, Wilson or London, you can't go wrong with. This has to be a receiver. It had to be a receiver. I agree with that pick.
Yep.
100%. Any other wide receiver comes to mind, Jimmy?
You say any other comes to mind? I think that this is who they need. Quite honestly, Garrett Wilson is who they need to take. He's the best option at this point for them and for the offense that they're running. This is honestly a no-brainer for them.
So are we in agreement that Garrett Wilson is the number 1 wide receiver to come off the board this season? Rob?
Yes.
I'm going to go with due to the injury, he is. Because to me, if Williamson got hurt, if Jameson Williams hadn't got hurt, I would take him over all of them.
Not like you're a Alabama fan or whatever. Well,
right.
Whatever.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, what are we talking about?
I wouldn't be shocked if London was was the first. I mean, any of those, for me, London or Wilson, for me, is 1A and 1B. I mean, dude only played 8 games and had like 88 catches. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, London a little monster out there. He a monster. But again, he's a victim of not being shown as much. So, USC, they started losing stuff. They started losing TV time and everything else, and people just stopped seeing them. So it's one of those things that kind of happened to him, and you it sucks that it happened to him, but it's punishing the people that's there now for stuff that people did way before they got there, before these guys was even in high school. Stuff was going on, and the kids that's there now are getting punished for it. So,
okay. So you guys in agreement that Garrett Wilson. I don't have a preference, so I'm gonna go with the majority. I do believe that Jameson Wilson is the best one. Williams, sorry, is the best wide receiver coming out. Obviously, that injury in the championship game speaks volumes, so I like Olave myself. I don't think he's the best one, but I think, as far as a receiver, and again, 7 wide receivers projected to go round 1. My question is, who is number 1 out of the 7, and you guys agree with Garrett Wilson. With that being said, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. Any other comments as far as wide receivers, period?
No comments, sir. Looks like the Minnesota Vikings pick is in.
All right, Minnesota Vikings have selected Mr. 6'6", 341, ran his 40 at 4.78, Jordan Davis, Georgia. If you guys didn't know, the Vikings were in the bottom 5 in yards allowed on defense. The Minnesota Vikings need as much help as possible. Everybody always focuses on Kirk Cousins and how much astronomical money he's stealing from this organization or the NFL, a la Sam Bradford. But it's not the offense that's hurting, it's the defense for this organization. And the Minnesota Vikings selected Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia. I think it's a perfect pick for this organization. It's a perfect pick. Now, I was torn between Jermaine Johnson, Florida State, and Jordan Davis, Georgia. Both will definitely help this defensive line for Minnesota. But I believe it's one or the other at this point. If these picks were to fall the way they have, and again, we're just doing this as fans. We're doing this as 4 brothers without a life. We're doing this because we can. We got nothing else going on, but we're not professionals. If you think about it, neither are these professional teams because they fail just as much as anybody else. But with that being said, defensive line, Minnesota Vikings is needed right here. What says you, Fleck?
For me, I think they got to help that corner room. Of course, with the top 2 corners gone, you don't reach for a McDuffie here at 12. So I'm in agreement. You get that line right. You don't know what Daniil Hunter, how he's going to come back looking from that injury he suffered last year. So get some help on those in those trenches.
With that being said, the Texans pick is already in. Defensive line, Georgia. Rob, you seen him. You seen Jordan Davis. You seen him in the backfield a couple times. What says you?
Right. Good pick. I worry about him being a 3-down man. I'm worried. I'm wondering, can he be a 3-down player? Or is he going to be one of those prototypes that come in only on specialty plays? That's my one question with him, because he hasn't played a full gambit of 3 downs back to back to back to back to back. He's a huge entity. He's big. He's a gap filler. But my question is, can he be a 3-down, hand in the dirt type defensive lineman? And we're about to find out. I'd take the risk. If I was the Vikings, I'd take the risk. He's worth it.
Yeah, I agree that the Vikings are definitely worth it. In playing where they're playing in the NFC North, and we know the NFC North likes to run the ball. You got a defensive tackle sitting right there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's go plug all that up. And I 100% agree with what you're saying, Fleck. You need cornerback, you need secondary help. And I mean, look at what the 49ers were last year. Everybody was hurt or was terrible. And you know, our secondary basically sucked last year. So if anybody can understand what you're talking about, I know what you're talking about. But it starts up front. If you can put more pressure on that quarterback or stop the run the way you need to, then that'll help the secondary out, and you can pick up some more pieces for that secondary later on in the draft if need be. But right now, for this pick, I do think that this is a great pickup for them to put something right in the middle of that defensive line to start shoring up, putting stops to the run at this point.
So quick question, because I got a feeling what the next pick is. That was my pick, assuming I am Minnesota Twin management. Here, Jordan Davis or Jermaine Johnson. What would you do?
If you're Minnesota,
edge rush or inside? Minnesota.
I'm taking the edge.
I'm taking the edge.
I think when we were discussing this in pre-production, if I can't get one of the top 2 corners, if I can't get Sauce or Stingley, then I'm targeting edge, because you don't know what you're getting with you don't know how Danielle Hunter's going to look coming back from that injury. So you got to prepare yourself. And then if he does come back, then you got a 2-headed monster.
Yeah, I get that. I get what y'all saying. I'm gonna play devil's advocate right here. Because you got to have that guy, that's just not go conform. And I feel like I'm gonna be that guy. I'm going middle. I'm not gonna let you run down our throat. I'm going middle. I'm gonna put somebody there that you got to run through, and you go feel every bit of the pain when you try to run through it. So that's the way I'm going. I'm gonna take Jordan Davis right there and put him right there in that middle, and see what Aaron Jones will do.
I totally agree. Houston Texans on the clock at 13 have selected who?
Is it me? That me? I'm picking for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans. Houston. We said it earlier. Houston just need everybody.
Everything.
They need everybody from top to bottom. They need a general manager. Did they get a coach? I think they got a coach. They just need everything. So let's go to
they got Bill O'Brien Jr.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I'm gonna say they need a coach. Then okay. So, but since we can't draft a general manager or coach, let's go ahead and stay on the defensive side, because they say defense wins championships. So we go stay on the defensive side. I feel like with the number 13 pick that they got from the Browns, they go take that defensive end that y'all were just talking about, Mr. Jermaine Johnson, out of Florida State. I mean,
I like this guy.
I like him. Yeah, I like him.
This guy is he gets his head in there. He not contact shy. Everybody who played football before, y'all know what that means. He not contact shy. He get his hands in there and he put his hands on people. So you can't really go wrong with this pick with taking a defensive end like Johnson, but he does have some stuff. Sometimes he'll go straight for the tackle. Sometimes he try to go around and he missed the tackle altogether. But his pros far outweigh his cons, and I feel like this will be a great pickup for Houston and will help them with their rebuild into where they're trying to go.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jermaine Johnson is drafted top 10.
That's not out on a limb. I agree with you. I think he goes top 10.
All right, so I don't know which team.
I have to go with you.
Something about the Jets at 10. He falls into Seahawks even. Granted, I would take Stingley if I was them, but this guy's that good of a talent. Yeah. I believe he just fell in through the drama-filled lack of interest ACC this past season. And all this kid did was play football. I like this guy. I really do. Something about Jermaine Johnson, even if he fell 7 to the Giants and they didn't get Thibodeau at 5, I get it, all that. I will have no issues with this guy falling into my squad at 5 or 7, top 10 worthy competitor. What do you think, Rob?
He's been in discussion in the Baltimore Ravens organization of them moving up to try to get him. So I would not be shocked if he went top 10. He is a game changer. He will affect the flow of the game. He's that edge rusher that can set your team up for future. So I would not be surprised if he went top 10, and don't be surprised, like we said, that a team comes up like Baltimore, who love defensive edge rushers and in need of a good edge rusher, puts together a package to try to move up.
It's a perfect segue, and I'm gonna ask you to keep talking. At 14, the Ravens select who?
So we need a big body wide receiver. Right now, all my wide receivers that are reliable are not very physical. And not much of a game changer. Lamar Jackson needs somebody other than Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews that are reliable wide receiver options. At this pick, we're going to go with Drake London, the freak out of USC, and I think he'd be a perfect.
Did you give him a nickname for the freak?
You better trademark that real quick. Trademark it.
I'm saying, did you give him a nickname?
That's my new nickname for him. And look, I need him to go ahead and let me trademark that. And so when he start using that, I need my part of it, please. Yeah, thank you.
If I'm the Ravens at 14 and I see Jermaine Johnson come off the board at 13, I'm feeling cursed. I am feeling cursed. But Drake London is a great consolation prize because
you gotta go wide receiver, right?
Huh?
Right.
You got to go wide receiver here for the Ravens. Like
you have to.
Yeah, but if Jermaine Johnson there at 14,
for years we've looked upon is Lamar Jackson refuses to throw downfield or he doesn't have anybody to throw downfield to. That's been the question for years. Now he's close to Mark Andrews. Got it. Marquise Brown has showed some semblance of excellence. But some. I said some, not all. Some.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna get to you.
Are we refusing to believe that Lamar Jackson just can't throw downfield, or he just not? Because I've seen most of his games, if not all, and Lamar Jackson takes his 3-step drop and he's gone. It's like he's not even looking downfield. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not wrong. Because half the time, if you got one wide receiver and one tight end, the only thing the defense got to do is put a linebacker on top of the tight end and make sure he fall down somewhere and push Hollywood Brown out of bounds. What Lamar Jackson got to do? You got people on him. Who's on the offensive line now? People in his face. So he got to do a 3-step drop and tuck and run. That's all he got. That's his only move. Who the running back?
Eagles, you're on the clock. No, I get it. Like I just didn't understand it. Now, I would like to say that the Ravens have been neglectful in the free agent market. I like to say that the Ravens have been neglectful in improving their team in the free agent market. They've been neglectful in their drafts. I would hate to be a Ravens fan And if one of the four of us were a Ravens fan, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Look,
I'm just saying, that's just me.
I want you to know, if I was a Ravens fan, I would completely give up on football altogether. I could not deal with it because of the simple fact I never know what's going to happen. Like this entire free agency period, like you were saying, Amir, what have the Ravens done? How much money do they have to spend? Because I haven't heard anything about them.
The best thing that could have happened to that AFC North was the Browns drafting Baker Mayfield.
Some people are calling Baker Mayfield a bust.
If they would have drafted properly, the North would have ran through Cleveland for years, but they didn't. So they became superior to mediocre that fast, and the Steelers have been the Steelers. And that's all praise to Mike Tomlin and Mike Tomlin only.
Uh-huh.
And the Ravens are one juke move away from 3 players being out for the season.
Out, just completely out.
I'm telling you.
Cleveland
I don't know what the Ravens think about to climb that mountain. I don't know. Rob, talk to me. What can the Ravens do to climb that mountain? We're short on time, so go with it.
We need wide receiver help because right now, if we don't get some wide receivers out there that's Lamar Jackson, we're not going to be able to compete in the AFC North. The AFC North will be Cincinnati, and I'm not really worried about Pittsburgh right now because they have quarterback issues for right now. But if we don't get wide receiver help fast, and it's going to become a two-team race between Cincinnati and Cleveland. Because once Deshaun Watson figures it out and puts it together, we're in trouble.
I agree with you on that. Completely agree with you.
On the horizon.
What I'm saying to you is Lamar Jackson that quarterback and go through his progressions and be a pass-happy quarterback? And I'm telling you, as a football fan, I watch the Ravens play, and he does his 3-step drop, and he's just going. And he's not looking.
But you know who the coach is out there with Lamar Jackson, right? It's the same no, I'm talking about the quarterback coach. It's the same one who brought Colin Kaepernick to prominence with the 49ers. As soon as he left, then they tried to turn Kaepernick into a pocket passer and not what brought him to the dance. That's the same guy they have in Baltimore right now. So he loves a quarterback that can run, and he's going to draw it up for the quarterback to run. But like you said, Amir, our time is short because we had like almost 2 hours, so we need to get through the rest of these picks. We're getting some good information in here, and I definitely agree that that these picks are good, and there's there's room for interpretation. It's open for any type of interpretation, but a lot of the stuff that's being brought up is true stuff, and is real. So right now with the number 15 pick, Greg Roman, thanks Jordan, with the number 15 pick that the Philadelphia Eagles got from the Dolphins, I feel like at this point where the Eagles are, they need stuff on defense. They definitely need linebacker help. So I feel like they're going to go out there to Utah and snatch Mr. Devin Lloyd out of Utah, because the boy can go sideline to sideline in seconds. He has all the talent that he needs. It's all a matter of if he's going to put it together once he gets on that stage. But he has everything right there. So putting it together shouldn't be an issue for him. He can get in there to pass rush. He can get in there on blitzes. And as long as he comes in with the focus that he needs, he is going to be a success in the NFL.
It's a great pick, and you're not wrong. I'm not. Devin Lloyd out of Utah is a hell of a pick for any team. But again, we're talking about team needs. Now, quick question again. We are a little bit behind, and we'll go to press forward. Quick question. Let's make it quick. Are the Eagles content with Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith as the wide receiving core here? Again, we're talking about 7 wide receivers that's projected to go first round, and the Eagles not touching anybody?
Do you take a third wide receiver in the first round in 3 years? Do you pull a Lions move?
No.
I think it was the Lions that took a receiver 3 straight years. Do you touch that stigma?
I mean,
as the Eagles?
They failed the Reagor.
The Browns took a quarterback for 5 straight years.
I think they can still get a decent receiver in the second round. I'm not
Saints
sure
are on the clock.
I'm not sure exactly what their second round picks are looking like, but I'm pretty sure that they can get a impact receiver in the second round. You just need somebody to complement Devontae Smith. Jalen Reagor, you throw him in the slide, you got your trio.
All right, the New Orleans Saints pick is in. They have been on the clock this entire time.
At 16
here, it's crazy for the Saints.
At 16, if I'm the Saints, I'm running to the podium. I'm running to the podium.
So
if the board shakes out this way, I'm running to the podium.
Almost did it for you.
You just lost Teron Armstead to the Dolphins. You replace him with Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. That dude
almost did for you.
Immediately.
He's going to go top 10.
My pick, because I would have did the same thing.
He's going to go top 10. He's coming on strong here late. Like I said, a lot of top 10 talk surrounding him. So if he's there at 16, the Saints have to break their necks running to the podium.
If Mickey Loomis don't run through the podium and Roger Goodell, something is wrong with Mickey Loomis, and Gail Benson need to slap him with every ring she has on her hand. I just want to point that out.
I totally agree with you, Prez, that I don't think Cross falls this far. But if he did, that's the reason we're saying right here, Mickey Loomis runs, cartwheels, does what we got to do to get
rollerblade.
Of course.
I would literally cinch up my rollerblades to get there.
And honestly, I will agree with you guys. You know what? I'm gonna do the same thing at 17 for the Chargers. And I think the Chargers at this point is doing Trevor Penning. Because they're like, oh, Cross is the last one out of the top 3. Penning is 4. We need an offensive line. We're going to do the exact same thing. Trust me, one is doing backflips. One is doing fucking, you know what I'm saying, cartwheels. They're both running into each other. One is coming off the stage. One is getting on the stage. They're both at the exact same, thinking the same way. Because for me, the Saints might go Penning. Guess what? The Chargers going Cross. Both of these teams are thinking the same way. So they get excited. And at 17 right now,
Usain Bolt to get to the podium.
An award-winning finalist, Trevor Penning is covering Herbert's blind side right here.
With that Trevor Penning pick, now you got bookend ends, tackles. You got Rashawn Slater from last year on the left side, the Penning on the right side. Herbert's good for 10 years. All right,
I think it's a mix and match here. Honestly, that's why I jumped the gun. I think these two picks are mix and match. They will go exactly if these two fall in these two slots. Because I believe Cross will go up. I agree with that.
Cross goes up. This is about the range that Penning will go.
Definitely.
This is the range that Penning will go. But
Penning can go up too, though.
No, I agree. Totally agree. I totally agree. So at 18, the Eagles select who?
I got them. I wanted to address that wide receiver room, but I mean, I went corner. And Trent McDuffie out of Washington. Only because, and again, it was against Washington State, but I loved his film. I fell in love with Trent McDuffie's film. As a Titans fan, if he falls to 26, I want him. Even though we don't need him, I want him.
Now is this the guy that goes across Darius Slay just as easy? This is the guy.
I like him.
I like it. If you like it, I like it. 19 Saints. What you got?
Before this injury, I would have said he would have been the first quarterback off the board. But after the injury, I think he's going to fall down to this position. And if he's there at 19, the Saints have to go with it. You're looking for a quarterback that you can build in the future. He can sit behind Jameis. He could heal. Then you can bring him up into that process of what the new playbook will look like after Sean Payton. I think it's a no-brainer. They should go with Matt Corral at this point.
My only issue is they spent so much money locking up Taysom Hill.
Exactly.
Now, we all know he's not a starting quarterback. We can agree with that to the moon and back.
No, not right now.
We're talking about salary cap wise.
So
does Matt Corral fit in the future of the Saints? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Matt Corral, he definitely does fit down here in the future. I'm here on the ground. I'm like one of the reporters when they was going over to Kuwait and saying it was in Iraq. I'm here on the ground seeing everything that's happening. Taysom Hill, they have now designated him as a tight end. He is no longer a quarterback on the Saints roster. They did give him a stupid amount of money, but that's when Sean Payton was here. For whatever reason, Taysom Hill, I don't know if Taysom Hill was holding Sean Payton's wife hostage, one of his children, but Sean Payton did anything and everything Taysom Hill wanted and gave him 2 massive paydays. They have since reworked his deal to where he is not as much of a cap hit, and they have moved him to tight end. So them picking up Matt Corral here would be a perfect pick, because everybody knows that they are not going to keep Jameis Winston down here for that long.
Y'all ain't got enough crab legs. Y'all ain't got enough crab legs to hold him.
Not enough crab legs. I saw this dude at the Pelicans game the other day, and he looked like he's happy to be down here, but he also looks like he knows that he's only down here out of necessity, and that they, as soon as they find what they looking for, he go be gone.
I think for me, I think 19 is too rich for Corral. I think that's too rich for him. I can see him falling to the second round. Seahawks got those back-to-back picks at 40 and 41. I think that's his range for me.
Right, but the Saints take him right here because they need somebody, and they don't have another pick until I think late 3rd round or early 4th round. So they
now think about this. Now we're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy who was literally in the Heisman race before the injury. He was in the Heisman race. He was sitting top 3 in the Heisman race before the injury. The guy is, and he's learned under NFL type offensive coach in college by Lane Kiffin. The guy is going to be. I think he'll be an incredible pick. If he does slide, whoever gets him in that 2nd round is getting a steal. But I would not be.
I'm not saying the kid can't play. I'm definitely not saying the kid can't play. But I think for me, if I'm the Saints at 19, that's a little too rich for me to.
The Steelers are on the clock.
The pick is in.
Steelers now projected now. Before we make that pick, the Steelers, every media outlet has projected them to move up, trade-wise, in desperate need of a quarterback.
Yeah. Right.
But we are not here for that. We can only expect it tomorrow night. The draft, 8 Eastern on NFL. Not that I'm plugging them, but I hope that'll delete us either. But we can only expect that the Steelers are going to move up. But if they don't,
gave you a shout out.
We're here. If they don't, big F, the Steelers at 20. Select who?
I think that whoever quarterback is going to need some protection. So my thoughts on this is that they're going to go interior offensive line. They're going to go with Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. Whoever they get there for quarterback, whether they draft somebody, whether they make a trade for somebody, we know they're not going to trade for Baker because I don't think Cleveland is going to want to see that. But
they got Mitch. They got Mitch Trubisky. They got Trubisky. They're gonna roll with him.
Yeah.
I like
Mitch.
I like that.
We go. I'm sure you do because he go running for his life.
Let's pause for a minute here and reminisce. And this is not story time with Poppy on the baseball podcast. Pride and Passion Baseball Talk, by the way. Cheap plug. But
message.
When was the last time we seen the Steelers rebuild? Yeah, we can't. I see all you guys' eyes rolled back your head. We're talking about 15, 16 years.
Tomlinson has never had to do
he never had to do one. So right now might be a good time. By the way, R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins.
Yes, definitely.
R.I.P.
It's a crazy story in itself. Crazy story. But the Steelers are not hasn't been an organization to try to rebuild. They've always been, and they have the defense to try to win now or compete at least. Not that any division, not that any franchise in the division, because what has the Ravens done to overtake the Steelers? The Browns did bring up Deshaun Watson, assuming he's not suspended. They
all signs are showing that
he should be the favorites. On paper, should be the favorites. But again, the Steelers have not rebuilt. We're in our low 40s, and we've always seen the Steelers compete, right or wrong.
Right.
So what makes this year any different?
Tomlins is going to have the dude has never had a losing season. So, they're going to compete. Now, that AFC North is going to be a gauntlet. So, I don't think they're going to win it. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but he's going to have them competing. I think he's going to have Trubisky looking decent.
Allegedly, Roger Goodell or the NFL says that Watson will not be suspended.
That's
allegedly.
That's
they can always go back on their words. We can understand that,
right?
All
my sources are telling me.
Rob, being a Ravens fan, is so shocked that his screen froze because he doesn't understand that the Steelers are still competing. But as an NFL fan, I believe that the Steelers will still compete. It may not be Mason Rudolph, and it won't be Mitchell Trubisky. Will it be Malik Willis? Will it be another quarterback drafted here? Will the Steelers trade up for another quarterback?
Let me go ahead and slide in here right now and let y'all know the Steelers are not going to be competing nothing. They have lost too many wide receivers, so I'm really not worried about them this year. Follow the flock right now.
The New England Patriots, their pick is in at 21.
So I put and this is hard. This was hard for me, being a Patriots hater. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I am and will always be a New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Like, I hate the Connecticut Sun for the WNBA, and I haven't seen a WNBA game in 25 years. But I hate the Connecticut Sun. Like, that's how much of a New England hater I am. With that being said, I had to put the Bill Belichick goggles on, right? I had to do, what will Bill Belichick do at this point? And I believe him and only him will select this guy in the first round. Only Bill Belichick. And it's crazy. And his name is Nakobe Dean, linebacker.
Love that pick.
Georgia.
That you're absolutely right.
I love that pick.
That's just me. That's just me and Bill Belichick. I think we're two of alike when it came to the starting process.
Let me tell you
He's
something.
definitely
That's
a Bill guy.
A Bill Belichick guy. 100%.
Exactly. See, I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm glad I'm not alone. Bill Belichick saw Jared Mayo Jr. when he saw the highlight clips. And I'm pretty sure right now Bill Belichick hasn't even spoken to this guy. He's not even going to introduce himself to this guy because that's who Bill Belichick is. Nakobe Dean is going to show up first week of training camp. Hi, my name is Nakobe. And Bill Belichick's like, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, that's just who Bill Belichick is. Like, he's not even going to talk to you. You know? But I like this guy for the Patriots.
I love
versatile linebacker.
Yep.
You know, can't do no wrong. The size could be a lot better, obviously. But he falls in that threshold for Patriots. And I like Nakobe Dean. What says you guys?
I think player team pick, that's probably one of the better picks of this mock draft. I love Nakobe Dean. I would love to see Nakobe Dean in that Patriot that Bill Belichick system. Bill's going to unlock everything that he has, and Nakobe is he's a monster. Playing at Georgia, I got to unfortunately see him quite a few times. Him playing against my Gators, and it almost always ended up with him in the backfield or him making a tackle. So I love that pick.
Let me tell you something. Bill Belichick is gonna go crazy and lose his entire mind with Nakobe Dean. His mind go be gone. He'll be like, "We back. We don't even need Tom Brady no more." Who that was? He did what? We back. He go all the way crazy.
Team, yeah, I agree. I don't see any team looking at Nakobe Dean necessarily. They should. They should. But I don't see any teams like Nakobe. Not that they're expecting them. Not that they're expecting Nakobe Dean to fall to him on the second round. But nobody outside of the late first round is saying Nakobe Dean is our guy. And I swear this guy, outside of Devin Lloyd, is going to be a steal in this draft. Right. At linebacker.
Right.
Packers at 22. What you got?
Green Bay Packers.
At 22, the Green Bay Packers. This is the pick that they got from the Raiders in the Devontae Adams trade. So why not go out and replace him? I got the Green Bay Packers selecting Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama. For me, this pick it was easy. You got to get Aaron Rodgers a receiver at some point, right? At some point, you have to get him a receiver. He may not be ready to go at the beginning of the year, but had it not been for that injury, I think he would have been the first receiver off the board. That's how much talent he has. That's how much talent he has. So him catching passes from Aaron Rodgers, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a monster.
That's going to be a problem for everybody in the AFC North.
So, I mean,
from one wide receiver to another, Cardinals at 23. What you got?
Rob's having technical difficulties again. Can't hear him.
Seems like he's muted. But
you're muted, Rob.
Rob is jamming on the studio right now, singing a hook to the next J. Cole song.
He over there recording right now. But what I do know,
we got you.
We got your back.
We brothers. We got your back.
So with the Arizona Cardinals, I feel like what they go decide to do, because they got AJ Green out there. They got who else? They got D-Hop.
D-Hop.
I'm like, who else? I'm like, who else?
AJ Green before you call D-Hop.
I'm like, who else? Because I'm a 49er fan and I'm hating on them. That's what I'm doing. They got Kyler Murray. But what they go do, they go ahead and take the young man out of Ohio State, Mr. Chris Olave, as I like to call him.
I'm gonna pause you. I'm gonna pause 1 second. For those of you that don't know, Kyler Murray's 5th-year option was picked up about an hour ago. Before we went on live here, Kyler Murray's 5th-year option was picked up in Arizona. They will look to sign long-term. They'll look for Kyler Murray to leave the Cardinals. But just want to throw that out there as breaking news here on the All Sports Matter podcast.
I think we got Rob back. I think we got Rob back.
Barry White, you finished in the studio?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you. We got you.
Can you hear me?
You laying down shaft tracks.
No, can't hear me? No.
He can't hear us. Okay.
We can hear you.
You got Olave, right?
I'm sitting up here. I'm trying to fight through all the technical stuff. So look,
we need to hire a tech guy.
You have to go Olave. Why would you get somebody else to complement D-Hop? You have to. So once you get somebody on that other side completely, and then maybe you can get Kyler Murray to stop complaining about, his in Arizona. You go ahead, you bring in Olave, and you make it to where it's an opened up offense again. And then you have a third option with AJ Green. So it's a no-brainer. And then you got Ertz opened up as well at tight end.
You don't re-sign Christian Kirk at $17 million a year? Are we not doing that?
No.
Christian Kirk is the reason the receiver market is so jacked up.
I need to shoot him in the kneecap.
It's so tore up. You have to.
Christian Kirk is the reason
that's what you do. You shoot him in the cap.
I just want to go on record and say Jacksonville Jaguars started this BS.
Yes, they did.
By putting $17 million on Christian Kirk.
Yes, they did.
Obviously, 18. If I'm Braxton Berrios, I'm asking for 18 because I suck, but not as much as Christian Kirk.
I would say
20. What they did.
I would do 20 off the top.
They need to be exiled to the XFL or the USFL.
They did that on purpose because they knew AJ Brown was coming up for a contract. I'm just saying.
Who does that? Who pays Christian Kirk $17 million?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why?
Like, pay me $7, and I swear to you, I'll be like that lineman who plays dead as a decoy, and that'll be me.
Right.
For $7 million. Because I don't know what Jacksonville is doing right now.
Exactly.
But speaking of, I don't know what I'm doing right now. The Dallas Cowboys is up at 24.
Speaking of throwing money at people, we know what Jerry Jones likes to do. He likes to throw money at people. I own Jerry's world. And we know, I know, you know, everybody knows, everybody who love the Cowboys, because don't nobody really love the Cowboys. Who are they for real? Cowboys suck. I said it. You heard me. I stand by my words. My words are here. I'm standing right next to you.
I stand with you.
Cowboys suck. Jerry Jones is not going to pick somebody who you think they go pick. I don't care what you think they need. They might need cornerbacks. They might need linebackers. They might need safeties. They might need wide receivers or running backs. Jerry Jones ain't going to pick that. I'm going to let you know that right now. So you can get your mind off that. Jerry Jones is going to pick somebody that's from the country and has eaten cornbread his entire life. That is what Jerry Jones is going to do. So with the pick that I see Jerry Jones doing, and I could be wrong, but I'm telling you I'm not. You can tomorrow you go see it and you go call me. You be like, damn, dude, you saw it. He's going to pick Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa.
So is he done with Travis Frederick at center?
I don't like that one. For me, I don't.
Is he done with Travis Frederick? I'm not a Cowboys fan. I think Marcus Betts went to go blow out his 85th candle right now.
Yeah, because he's about 97.
The center is Travis Frederick, right?
It is, but
for me, if you're in this position and Treylon Burks from Arkansas is sitting there and you just lost Amari Cooper, how do you pass on him?
This is Jerry Jones you're talking about.
Jerry Jones is an Arkansas alum. Treylon Burks
Jerry Jones.
Need.
And he will never pass up on anybody from Arkansas.
All right.
There's no doubt that Linderbaum is the best center in the draft, but he is not a team need.
He's not a team need. But this is Jerry Jones. Look, y'all, this is what I see him doing. I've sat there and watched Jerry Jones because my brother's a Cowboys fan. So I sat there and I watched Jerry Jones every year at the draft do nothing but piss off Cowboys fans everywhere because of the way he drafts. So I know what they need. Jerry Jones never picks what the team needs. He picks what he wants and who he likes. That's Jerry Jones.
Exactly. And he's not going to pass on an Arkansas alum.
Now,
and it's
I'm going to defend. Tomorrow, I'm going to defend Jerry Jones in the draft room. Jerry Jones in the draft room has done a good to decent to good job in their drafts. I'll give them that. They suck at free agency. They suck at keeping their stars because they overpay them. Jerry Jones fails in that. But as far as John's drafting, Cowboys have done a decent job. at drafting, CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons last few years. Their linemen, not Nelson, but who they had at offensive lineman the year before that. But they've done a good job. I don't see Linderbaum here because I think Frederick is just fine. I don't see them drafting the wide receiver either because he is an idiot. So he's going to play it safe and try to go with somebody like Andrew Booth, cornerback, because we're talking about team needs. And Jerry Jones has never been, even though he's done a good job, and I hate to defend the Cowboys. I hate it. But they've done a good job drafting. And I give them that. First round, not everything else.
They go take a punter.
I'll leave it second round. And with that being said, I
bought in the first round.
Yep.
I bought a Booth. The Bills at 25. Did some cartwheels, and they went ahead and selected Andrew Booth, quarterback Clemson. They go on the other side of Tre'Davious White. That's his name, Tre'Davious White.
Nasty tandem,
the
right?
Bills is in desperate need of secondary help. As you can see that they almost have a complete team, but they failed when it came to the defense and pressure and defensive help. And I made this pick in a hurry in the hopes that nobody in the Bills fans are watching us right now. Not that I give two dams about
three of them just jumped through a table.
I'm going to go with Andrew Booth, cornerback, Clemson, and I believe he's the best. And I saw their depth chart, and they desperately need a cornerback on the other side of Tre'Davious White. And I believe he will fit right here in hopes to battle for one of those starting spots, if not starting quarterback, at least in a nickel. If we look at all the quarterbacks that has jumped to the AFC side, nickel teams have to go to the nickel all season long. 3 wide quarterback RPO options. AFC is going to be insane this coming season. So we're hoping that the Tannehills of the world are going to keep up. Is a cheap stab to Tennessee, but I believe that they need all the help they can, and Andrew Booth can only help the Buffalo Bills and guarding the other side. Tennessee Titans are on the clock, but what says you guys about the Buffalo Bills right now?
Let me tell you something.
I like that pick. I like that Booth.
They definitely need to show up that defense. That Booth pick puts them right where they need to be, and I definitely agree that that's probably where they go with it.
Is White going to be, because he went out with an injury last year? Is he going to be healthy for the start of the season?
It's saying he's on track.
He's on track.
He got no other choice. Come on, Ben Simmons. He has choice.
It's not mental. Football players don't think. Basketball players think. Football players don't think. They just go out there and put the helmet on and like, yes, coach. That's it.
I also want y'all to know that Chicago is about to go home.
What's that?
Chicago about to go fishing. I want y'all to know that.
Yeah, they lost Zach Levine. That was it. Once they lost Zach Levine to the COVID protocol, that was it. It was a done deal for Chicago. Shoot.
Same thing.
Titans, what you got for us?
Got the Titans on the clock at pick 26. They have two areas of immediate need, and that's offensive line, either a guard or a right tackle, and receiver. They need somebody that can complement Robert Woods and AJ Brown. Speed.
Isn't that being greedy?
That's what we need. We need somebody that can take the top off.
It's being very
Isn't that being greedy? If you got 2 star-studded wide receivers,
Robert Woods coming back from ACL. You don't know what you're getting there.
Ain't nothing wrong with his hands.
I thought we had 2 star-studded receivers last year when we went and got Julio. Didn't pan out.
Why would you think that? Everybody knows Julio is hurt after week 6.
So AJ Brown, contract situation, he's iffy. I think he's going to be there for all the mandatory stuff. But
that's crazy. Julio Jones still a free agent.
So I got the Tennessee Titans taking Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State.
That's
4.3640.
Let me say something. That young man got some smoke with him.
40.
He
has the speed.
He's better than Dotson at Penn State.
I like Dotson, but Watson
got some smoke with him.
He's going to fit that role that we need him to fit a lot better than that. Watson is a late riser. He's a late riser. 4.3640. We're gonna fall in love with that. I wanted Jameson Williams. If I'm the GM of the Titans, I'm trading down because our luck with first round picks is awful. We only have
trading
3
down or trading out. Because at this point, you're trading out of the first round.
Right. I would trade out of the first round. You give me a 2 and a 3, you can have it. We don't have a 2 because of the Julio Jones deal. You give me a 2 and a 3, you can have it.
They're smart. They're smart.
Rental.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're on the clock. What you got for us?
So shockingly, this pick literally did not play high school football and literally had to learn the game in college. And he did his thing. He did his thing in college. So I wouldn't let him pass. He's not one of those quick, violent hands, but when it comes to pass rushing, he's a great. And Tom Brady needs somebody to keep him clean. I got to go with number 27. I'm going with Zion Johnson out of Boston College.
I love that pick.
I think he could start. Honestly, I think he could start. So that's who I'm going with.
I like it.
That's a great pick. That's a great
Buccaneers
pick.
lost 2 offensive linemen.
Exactly. They lost 2 guards. They lost 2 guards. That was definitely. Yeah, I like that. I thought about him for the Titans. But I love that pick.
That's definitely a huge pickup.
I like it. Green Bay, you're on the clock.
Green Bay is on the clock. Let me tell you something. Green Bay, they just paid Aaron Rodgers $50 million a year. That's a lot of money. $50 million. That's a lot of money. I want y'all to just think about that. Think about how much money is $50 million for 1 year. And he got 4 of the years. So that's just a lot, right? So what's the first thing you go do besides get him weapons? Protect him. Aaron Rodgers don't need to see the field. He don't need to be laying on his back at any point throughout the year if you're paying him $50 million. That being said, what you want to do is grab a tackle to keep people off his blind side because Aaron Rodgers, Mr. State Farm, has been having a lot of insurance claims as of late. So what I would do if I was a GM, I would go holler at my guy out of Central Michigan, Mr. Bernard Raymond, and get him to come in there and protect my $50 million investment.
I like it. I like it a lot. Is that enough for Tom Brady? Granted, he's coming back. He's already announced. He's already coming back. We can only assume Gronkowski is coming back as well. Is that enough to keep his 43-year-old ass afloat? And
wait, no, this Green Bay. Green Bay we talking about. We talking about Green Bay. This the other Bay.
No, give them to me. No.
You're right.
I'm
going back to Zion Johnson. Forgive me. I'm at the accent. I think I dozed off. So we're talking about Zion Johnson in Tampa Bay, and then we're talking about Raymond and Green Bay. Let's go back a pick. Is Zion Johnson enough to keep Tom Brady up? And is Raymond enough, assuming they'll get a wide receiver? Is he enough for Green Bay? 2-part question. Go ahead, Fleck.
Zion, I mean, if you're Tampa, you have to try. Even if you don't think that, you know what I'm saying, even if it don't pan out, you have to try. You lost 2 guards. You lost 2 guards to free agency.
Yep. You
have to replace them. Raymond, I don't know about that one. I don't know, Jim. Who Who does Aaron Rodgers have as his tackles right now?
Well, let's see, shall we?
I just don't. I think that one. I don't know. With the lack of receiving talent in Green Bay, I wouldn't be surprised come draft day if they didn't just double down. Because you don't know who's their number one right now. Lazard, maybe?
Lazard.
They went and got
Lazard.
It's gonna be Lazard.
You're gonna mute Amir.
The system.
You're muted, Amir.
Right. I think, my apologies. I think Sammy Watkins is expected to carry a lot. Like in Rodgers' head, in Rodgers' mind, Randall Cobb is
what?
So the offensive line that they have right now.
Did you just say?
Yeah, Sammy Mr. Glass Watkins.
Did you just say Sammy Watkins?
With a straight face.
In Rodgers' mind, not mine.
Do you not know?
I play fantasy football.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say
fantasy football.
He's going to trip on the way in the building.
I don't know what he has in his
and Randall Cobb is enough.
So right now, the Packers offensive line, they have David Bakhtiari. I think that's how you say his name.
Bakhtiari, yeah.
Elgton Jenkins. He Leroy Jenkins' little brother. Josh Myers.
It was a rhetorical question.
I know. It's too late now.
I guess.
I'm already telling you now, so you got to take it.
I guess that Raven, okay. Then I can agree with that Raven pick. For me, if I'm the Packers, though, I mean, you're counting on Sammy Watkins to be your one?
No, well, he will be the first 2 weeks of the season. I guarantee you.
Or 2 quarters of the season, maybe.
He's going to be hurt immediately.
He's going to trip coming out.
He's going to trip on the way to the practice field.
Aaron Rodgers has an ACL. Because the NFC North
in
is
preseason.
That weak, unfortunately.
And
let's be honest.
They go pick up who?
Aaron Rodgers can throw to one of us for 8 touchdowns because they're playing against the NFC North.
Yeah.
No team out there stands out. That's why we talk about the Minnesota Vikings and defensive line. Yeah. The Bears, who's nowhere near a first-round pick this year.
And the Lions.
And who are we missing in NFC North? Detroit Lions. Really?
Their
game will be 32-28. You know what I'm saying?
I think the Lions are going to be the Lions. They lost a lot of close games last year, man.
The Lions.
There's nothing about the NFC North that says Sammy Watkins can't be a number one.
The Lions ruined the careers of 2 Hall of Famers.
Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. That's a conversation for another day, which we will have.
Oh,
we will look into the Detroit Lions and its history. I'm writing it down right now. I'm writing it down right now.
Quite possibly
with the 29th pick.
Let's
with
go
the 29th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, mind you, the Chiefs are back to back here, so I can't say they can't go wrong. I can't say they can't go right. What I'm saying is, back to back usually means we're trading up. History will show us. I'm just throwing it out there. They might trade one of their picks out of the first round. They might trade both of them up to the first round. That's history. Just throwing it out there for those of you that don't know. Not insulting nobody's intelligence. But with this pick, assuming they haven't traded out, they have a steal in this draft and drafted Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks. First team, all SEC, 11 touchdown, 600-yard games. Patrick Mahomes, number 1 wide receiver, Treylon Burks.
Love it.
Write it down if this happens.
Love it. I love it. And
yeah, I have to agree. That's a great one.
When we were putting this thing together, and I saw that my brother Amir had 29 and I had 30 for the Chiefs. I got mad at him for taking the receiver because they definitely that's definitely their top need. You don't go into the season with Juju or MVS as your number 1. You can't. So I love that pick. At 30, I gave them Boye Mafe, defensive end out of Minnesota, because at some point you're going to have to replace Frank Clark. At some point you're going to have to. This dude ran a 4.53 at the combine. He can play standing up. He can play in the dirt. You got a monster. You got a monster with him, with Boye Mafe at 30 for the Chiefs.
Breaking news, not that I'm cutting anybody off, Sean Payton is closing in on a deal to be a Fox Sports studio analyst. Breaking news this second. All sports matter. This is what we're about. The Chiefs can't go wrong back-to-back here. I do believe they got a steal with Burks, the defensive end at Minnesota is huge. I hated the fact that they just let Tyreek Hill go. I get why they did it. I didn't like that they did it. As a fantasy football champion, as I am, I didn't like the fact that they just let Tyreek Hill just walk the way they did. All the pressure is on Tua Tagovailoa this coming season. Miami, who doesn't have a first-round pick, but there is no more pressure going into the season as it is this year to a quarterback, as it is for Tua Tagovailoa. And not saying I don't feel bad for him, but better him than me, I guess. That's why they get paid the millions. And for a quarterback, for the first time, he has to earn his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck to him. But the 31st pick, Bengals is on the clock. Say again, Jimmy?
I said they got a good offensive coach out there.
Yeah, they do. They do. Even though they did Flores wrong as heck.
So dirty.
Yeah, they didn't even give Flores a chance.
So
I mean, you don't do that. Like,
I was hoping the Giants would pick them up.
Go ahead.
Once he started that lawsuit, though, it was going to be virtually impossible for him to get in after that lawsuit started.
I'm going to leave off in the future. I can agree with that. I think Flores will.
We ready for 31st?
Oh yeah.
31 Bengals. Where you at?
Let's go with 31st, and we're gonna go with a defensive tackle. Actually, shocked that he slides this far, but being a part of the AFC North, where we know the running backs that are there when healthy, Dobbins, and then you have Najee Harris. You have to get somebody to be able to compete, and you got Nick Chubb. You need somebody who can get run stop, who can be that 3-down defensive player. So why not go with Devontae Wyatt, out of Georgia,
Wyatt.
Defensive tackle.
Georgia got what, 5
That makes
picks?
4 for Georgia. That makes 4 for Georgia.
4.
That'd be the 4th pick in the first.
You don't win a national championship for a reason, you know what I'm saying? And they did that this year. Lions, you're on the clock, by the way, but Georgia, quickly, where is Georgia this season? Fleck?
Where's Georgia?
Yeah, where is Georgia at? Do they defend? Do they win?
They're
Do they
going to be
not?
right there competing again. Kirby got them boys playing. They're going to be right there competing again. I have no doubt about that. The plan, I mean, you got Kentucky that's playing a little bit better. You got Tennessee that's playing a little better. Florida, we're bringing in a new coach. I mean, they got a clear run through the SEC East, so they're going to be right back in contention again. No doubt.
Right.
That's
outside of your dreaded Road Tide, does Georgia compete? The Georgia win. Well, not even compete. I know they're
let's start off.
Do they win?
Oh yeah, they'll compete, but you all will pay this year for the blood that we had coming out of our nose after that game. We're going to make all of you pay this year, Roll Tide. But yes, Georgia will compete. Georgia will be amazing in the East, and it's going to be a fight. Depending on what Florida looks like, Kentucky's going to be tough, and I think Tennessee is going to shock some people this year and cause some issues with some teams' records this year. Georgia's going to be competitive. Kirby has them playing at all cylinders. Their recruiting class was great, but in the end, I will be shocked if it's not an Alabama Georgia SEC championship game.
Mr. Irrelevant for the first round, not pick 256. 256, we all know, is Mr. Irrelevant. We get it. We're talking about the first round. How do we close out the first round with the Detroit Lions?
Well, since Mr. Robbery decided he wanted to eat the microphone, let's do it this way here. Hold it like this. Like I'm in the studio. Like I'm in the studio. I'm about to wine and dine for you.
Let the man sing.
So I feel like the Detroit Lions from Motown. That's why I was holding it like that, because we in Motown. They go stay on track with trying to shore up the defense. And I think right here, right now, they decide to address the cornerback room, and they go ahead and snatch up Mr. Daxon Hill from Michigan. Hometown hero. Hometown boy, go stay right at home.
I like that pick.
I like that pick.
And go ahead and do what he needs to do to make sure that that they're doing what they need to do.
I like that pick.
So there's no way they pick up, not necessarily no way, but in your opinion, obviously, nobody else's but yours. Did I pick up Desmond Ridder for Cincinnati right here?
I think it's more. I don't see them picking him up, especially with having this young man from Michigan sitting right here at home. I think they'll look at it as easier transition.
I don't think
now. Ideally,
you may see a team trade back into the first round.
Pick, right? They will have the 34th pick to pick up Ridder.
You'll see if if they were going to pick Ridder at 34, they'll pick him at 32 so they can get that 5th-year option on that first round contract.
Right.
I think you see a team trade back into the first round to take a Desmond Ridder, or I don't think Matt Corral goes at 19 or Matt Corral at 32, just so they can get that 5th-year option. Kind of what the Ravens did when they picked up Lamar Jackson. They traded back into the first round at 32 to pick up Lamar so they can get that 5th-year option on that rookie contract.
Right.
So there you have it. 1 through 32.
It's been an interesting. Again, these are our own personal opinions of us sitting on a couch eating bonbons and having our feet on the cushions and recliners and doing absolutely nothing with our lives. 4 brothers who love sports. 4 brothers who do nothing but talk about sports behind you guys' back, in front of your faces,
behind your back,
doing what we gotta do. Because guess what? Our opinion means more than yours. I'm going out there and I'm gonna quote that, because guess what? No cross means sauce. I'm writing that down somewhere. I'm making money off of that.
Write that down.
And I'm
write it down.
Right now.
Trademark.
Now
let's go through.
We expect trades to happen left and right tomorrow. The draft starts 8 Eastern tomorrow, ESPN. We expect trades done left and right. And here's the recap of them. Aiden Hutchinson coming in first. Personal opinion, nothing more. As we continue on, Thibodeau was a surprise at 5. Gardner at 7, and Malik Willis at 8. Kenny Pickett's the first quarterback coming off the board. Obviously, we could be wrong. Kyle Hamilton falling to 10 is a surprise for many, even to myself as a Notre Dame fan.
It was a surprise to me that he fell to 10.
No surprises here, but Jermaine Johnson expect him to be picked even further ahead.
It's a surprise. It's a surprise that Cross is so far down.
And even Charles Cross, I agree with you guys. Charles Cross probably will go top 15 just as much as he is. Right here, no surprises. Maybe Corral falls a little bit further.
For me, that's
depending on what quarterbacks is picked.
For me, that's way too high for Corral at 19.
I agree. N'Kobe Dean, the Patriots, Jared Mayo Jr. projected is high right here, but it's more than okay with us.
Somebody was asking about Linderbaum going in the first round. There you see him right there.
There he is, 24 with the Cowboys, which is a surprising pick to us as well.
Surprising,
Jahan Dotson,
which
Titans,
is Watson.
Maybe not. We'll see how he
I don't like the
does.
Titans.
I see.
And right here, Daxton Hill finishing out. Maybe not a quarterback.
I think
the Lions can pick the quarterback at 34 in the second round.
If you pick him at 34,
this
you
is
pick him at 32.
Our projected first round. Nobody else's. Not NFL, not ESPN, not CBS, not Bleacher, not et cetera. Any last thoughts? Fleck, go.
Just for me at that 32nd pick, I feel like that'll be a team trading back up for one of the quarterbacks that drop, just so they can get that fifth-year option. I can't preach that enough. That you need that cheap rookie contract. That quarterback, you need that cheap rookie contract. Rob, what you got?
Same as Justin Herbert right now with the Chargers.
Exactly.
I totally agree.
What you got,
Big
Rob?
What you got with the draft?
The only question I had, everyone, is how shocking would it be if the Patriots, and we know how good N'Kobe Dean would be in that position, but what if they need an offensive weapon and decide to go with Jameson Williams? That's my challenge. Let's see what happens.
I don't see them going down to 21.
I wouldn't be shocked just because of that Bill Belichick to Nick Saban that pipeline. So I wouldn't be shocked.
Assuming he drops to 21. Assuming.
Well, I mean, here we had him yes. 22, so yeah. So he would have been there at 21. We had
I agree with you. Again, this is ours. Right. I think Williams get picked up.
I think he
in the mid-teens
for that too.
I just
earlier than that.
I totally agree with you.
Trades up to get him. I think the Chiefs trade up to get him in about that 15 to 18 range.
Jimmy, what you got?
I agree. Honestly, go Jim.
Oh, I got Jim. Freeze again. So yeah, this draft that we did tonight, I like where some of the guys landed. Like y'all said, I feel like a couple of the guys are in spots that they definitely probably won't. Definitely, probably. I like that. They probably won't last that long to be in that position, in those positions. The Cowboys, I feel like Jerry Jones might surprise some people. I feel like he's not going to surprise people. It's Jerry Jones. We know who Jerry Jones is.
He's always the wild card.
We know he gonna do what he want to do. So, but I feel like it's gonna be a lot of trades, and it's gonna be a whole lot of people that's moving around that folks didn't see coming. Now, will Deebo Samuel get traded? I highly doubt it. Jimmy Garoppolo will definitely get traded on draft day, on draft night.
Tomorrow?
He will definitely be moving teams.
Do you think he gets moved tomorrow?
I think so.
I think Baker moved before Jimmy, though.
No.
I think Baker moved before Jimmy.
I don't see Jimmy.
From what I hear and what I understand, Baker Mayfield is a bust.
I only say, well, I mean that's the vet school of thinking right there.
That's what I'm being told.
I only say Baker before Jimmy G is because I think Jimmy G is going to cost more compensation wise.
But that's the thing. I didn't say Baker wasn't. I didn't say Baker wasn't going to move. I just said Jimmy. You asked me if I thought Jimmy G would move tomorrow. Who say they both don't move tomorrow?
You're right.
You're speaking as a fan and not as management.
You got two teams out there, well, three teams if you count the Seahawks. You got three teams out there that need a quarterback that can.
You're right.
That's ready
guess
to go.
What? They're not drafting a quarterback, so they could spend as much time as possible to get these quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's true.
The only team I believe, and I don't mean to cut you off, the only team that got to worry about the quarterback position is the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's 4
Based
teams.
upon what we discussed as the draft, and Kenny Pickett is the only team that got to worry about trading for a quarterback. Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, etc. The Carolina Panthers is the only team in the NFL that has to worry about the quarterback position right now prior to the draft.
Yep. You feel that confident in Drew Lock? Drew Lock, my bad.
I don't know, but I think I think the Giants need a quarterback too. So that's 4 teams. Because Daniel Manning just ain't gonna make it.
I think Seattle needs a quarterback.
Seattle definitely needs a quarterback.
You can't.
Seattle needs a quarterback. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. The New York Football Giants need a quarterback.
All right. There you have it.
I'm just saying. And maybe even the Titans, because Tannehill ain't it.
Well, we're stuck with him for at least another year. So we're not looking.
But guess what? Next Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we will discuss the after effects of the NFL draft. We will discuss further the NBA playoffs. Major League Baseball is into their second month come May. All Sports Matter podcast. Trust me, we will discuss all sports related.
We're going to see some soccer.
As far as us is concerned, the draft is tomorrow. Did our teams do what they need to do? We'll discuss those things. Is Jimmy G still part of the 49ers franchise? I think I need the Batman logo. You know, that song. You know, stay tuned next week. Is Jimmy G still part of the 49ers franchise?
We need one of them. He's not Iron Man, though.
I thank you guys for watching.
We won't be 3 hours.
You guys for following along. We appreciate you. I am Amir Shiraz Ortiz, Amir Papi Ortiz, your host for Baseball, Pride and Passion Baseball Talk. Next show is tomorrow night. Thank you for my co-hosts, Flectron 2 Belts More, fantasy related, whatever. Desmond, Robbery, Robinson, JB, Jimmy Bilbo. Thank you for watching. This is our first round NFL 2022 mock draft. Stay tuned next Friday for our next show. We discuss the aftermath of our draft and see where our teams are and see where Jimmy G needs to be drafted because we know he'll still be there. We'll discuss that next Friday. Thank you for watching. We appreciate everything. Appreciate your support. Follow us on All Sports Matter on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Guys,
and
any
YouTube.
parting words?
Yep, just be here next week. We promise you we won't be 3 hours. We go get you in and get you out and get you some real good sports topics.
We're gonna touch everything. So if you see some softball, some hockey, all sports matter.
Definitely all sports. You might be talking about curling one day, some downhill skiing, little beach volleyball. I don't know.
Hopefully, only during the Olympics, but we'll talk about it.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about that curling.
Till then, folks.
See you next week.
Thank you for watching, guys. Appreciate you.